Marcus Anthony, Shalom, brother. Welcome to the live. We're starting right now. I'm a little late, but we usually start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, Shalom, everybody. Shalom, it's your brother Shamar. Welcome back to another edition of Monday Smoke. Yeah, welcome back. I'm just gonna stick around for a little while and wait for brothers to come in and join. Meanwhile, I'm gonna share the link for brothers that I want to come in a little later. So stick around. Shalom, shalom. Welcome to the live. We are live and direct. Shalom. All right. I got the link on the comment section for any brothers that want to join in a little bit later. But welcome back to Monday Night Smoke, where we invite brothers, sisters, anybody that wants to come in and share their findings, their doctrines, their precepts, their breakdowns, their understanding, whether or not we're teaching wrong information, whether or not we're teaching false doctrines and whatever the like, especially when it comes to the subject of Canaan, who Canaan is today, which is we teach that the Canaanites are West Africans of the diaspora, you know what I'm saying? So not only that, but a lot of brothers know what we teach. You know, we teach that the Gypsies are the Southern Kingdom, and that they are the ones that were scattered to the four corners of the earth, according to the information and the history that has been presented quite some time there, here and there, on the boards, on Facebook and whatever the like. So we have two videos on that you brothers can check out. One is an interview with two family of the Gypsies here in the Americas. Obviously, we know that a lot of the Gypsies are scattered abroad to the four corners of the earth. Like Jose Vega and I have been saying, when you do the research, you'll find out that everywhere you type in or you want to find the Gypsies are going to be there. And the Gypsies are going to be an oppressed group of people, just like our people are all over the world, even here in the Americas. So we teach that the so-called Africans of the diaspora of the 1600 slave trade, they're not Shemites, but Hamites, Egyptians, Canaanites that were scattered to the tents of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, according to Genesis 9:25. So we also teach that the 12 tribes never began as Negro. We have proof on that. We also did a class. It's on our channel. Shalom, bro.
Shalom, shalom.
Yeah, welcome to the live, brother. Yeah, so I was saying that a lot of brothers know what we teach. You know, it's not a strange thing for brothers to know what we teach and what we're about. Like we stated many times over, we're not a camp, we're not a congregation, we're a movement, because we're trying to uproot all these doctrines that are scattered, that are being taught in a lot of these camps. You know, therefore bringing our people into captivity through the mind, through their doctrines, through their spells, right? Because a lot of these brothers be throwing spells onto the people, just like brother Ephraim Rivera posted a video a while ago of the GMS elder, basically confessing live in a video, saying that, you know, that they put spells on the people so that the people could stay, so that the people could follow these camps. So there's a bunch of spells being thrown out through the mouths of a lot of these false leaders within a lot of these synagogues of Satan, which are the camps. Gio, Shalom, brother. Yisha Issachar, welcome to the live. Welcome, brothers. Welcome to the live. So, you know, that's what we teach. We teach that the Gentiles. As a matter of fact, let me read a scripture real quick before we get started. Welcome to the Diligent Destroyer, Shaddad Hara Wataza, aka Jose Vega. Welcome to the live, brothers. Let me see. What do we got? Shalom, Yisrael. We have a short one because last time we had 6-hour live podcast, man. That was the longest we Yeah, let me read Isaiah 9:16 real quick. Isaiah 9:16.
You said Isaiah what?
9:16.
This is Isaiah chapter 9, verse 16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed.
Yeah. Can you brothers hear me? Because Jose Vega was breaking up. You hear me, Jose?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay. So yeah. So basically, what we read in Isaiah 9:16, the leaders of our people are causing our people to learn false doctrines based on man-made doctrines, based on black supremacy ideologies that began back in the 1960s by rabbis that learned under the white men, basically African converts. Exactly what we've been teaching the.
No, looks like the brother dropped off for a second. Shalom, shalom, everybody. Hope you brothers can hear us. Y'all should be back in a second. Yeah, y'all should be back. Oh man. Man, it's kind of cold over here. Shalom, shalom. Yeshua, you can hear us, right? All right, good. Yeah, the brother Ayah should be back in a second. Right now, Judah Naz is throwing a hissy fit on his channel right now, crying like a little girl. Shalom. Salome Vega. Oh, we got Vegas in the house. We got the Vegas in the house. Huh. Phone's up. Yeah, but I'm gonna start. I guess I'll pick it up real quick where Ayash was talking about people teaching false doctrines, right? Yes, we love to expose false doctrines, right? So earlier on this hour, I was on Judah Nazareth channel, and again, you have to keep exposing these Canaanites that try to pick up these scriptures and act like they're actually teaching the people, right? I want to show you, brothers, something real quick, because this is a scripture that many camps, many Negroites love to take out of context, right? So we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 17, because they love to read verse 4, right? Oh, you're going to lose your inheritance. You're going to lose. People don't understand what the chapter is actually talking about. The chapter is actually talking about losing your land, losing your land inheritance, not you forgetting who you are and walking around the world. Oh, I don't know that I'm Israel. I don't know. That has nothing to do with Jeremiah 17. And we're going to read from the top and get the context. Because what we don't do around here is play like how the Christians are. How the Christians love to just read a verse and take the whole chapter out of context, right? And build doctrines off of these false claims, right? This is Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 1, right? It says, the sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with a point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. Now, brothers and sisters, when it says altars, what is it speaking about? Is it not speaking about the temple, correct? The temple that was that lies in Israel, that Jeremiah is speaking about. And then it says, which the children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon high hills. O my mountain in the field. See, everything we're reading from verse 1 down to verse 3 is actually speaking about the land of Israel, right? Talks about the altar, the grooves, the high hills, and the mountains in the field. And I will give thy substance and thy treasures to a spoil, and thy high place for sin throughout all thy borders. Verse 4, and thou even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage that I have gave thee. And I will cause ye to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So again, people, what is the inheritance, right, that you're going to discontinue from? Is it talking about you forgetting who you are? Or is it talking about your land inheritance, which is the land of Israel? Shalom, Ayash, you back?
You brothers hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you. You can hear me? Oh, he went off again. Let me try to raise up my headphones. So again, these are, again, me exposing other false doctrines that these brothers and sisters try to take out of context. This is not talking about you forgetting who you are, okay? That is a false doctrine. People need to read the chapter and get the context. And this is why I keep telling you, brothers, that Judah Nazareth is a perfect example of Ezekiel 28. And I'm going to show you what I mean. This is Ezekiel 28, verse 3. And he says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel, and there is no secret that they can hide from thee. You see, people like Judah Nazareth, people like IUIC, Shalom.
Anyways, I don't know if you brothers can hear me. If you can hear me, please type 1. Or
yeah,
yes.
You can hear me?
If you brothers can hear me, please type yes or 1 so I can know.
Can you hear me?
My phone is acting up. Shalom, welcome to the live.
Can you hear me, Ayash?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm having issues with my phone, bro. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so I was saying earlier that brothers know what we teach. All the camps know what we teach. So if we are wrong, right? If Jose Vega and I are wrong and the ancient watchman is completely off and we're bugging out, okay, well, them claiming to be the elders of this nation, right? If they're Israelites, even them claiming to be the leaders and you know, and the council that was set up back in the 1960s, why don't they come as them being the elders, right? When it comes to learning or knowledge and whatever they like or whatever they claim, why don't they come to this platform right here and actually have a discussion, talk about it, instead of actually slandering our names, saying a bunch of crap and this and that and the third, and then blocking us like Mighty Hebrew has me blocked for the past 2 years. But he talks a lot of shit against Jose Vega. Oh, we debunk the ancient watchmen. We destroy the ancient watchmen. This is not the third. Okay, if you destroy the ancient watchmen and what we teach, Why don't you come here and actually prove it in the midst of the congregation, in the midst of the people that actually watch us and everybody else that knows what's going on and what we teach? You know what I'm saying? So it's like they don't want to talk about it. They want to avoid it for some weird, strange reason. They want to avoid the facts. They want to avoid the subject matter, and instead they're now trying to switch their doctrines in order to continue to to uphold their lies. That's what they're trying to do, and a lot of our people don't see that, And a big shout out to Efraim Rivera for always keeping a watch on everything that is going on within a lot of these camps and a lot of the members of these camps, where they're still pushing this black supremacy ideology, where they're still pushing this black Christ and black Solomon and black trees and black water and black Yahweh and black angels and black this and that and the third. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, stop. And so a big shout out to Efraim Rivera for letting us know what's going on. Obviously, brothers know that I'm blocked for 30 days. I got 15 days left in Facebook jail. And then after that, I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be able to comment on the things that Efraim Rivera has tagged us on, Jose Vega and I. But obviously, that our people are still, submerged under the spells of Canaan and their doctrines. And so that's what we read. What in the book of Isaiah 29? Let me see.
Oh, he fell off again. I guess his phone is acting up. He should get. I thought he had a little laptop. He should get himself a little laptop. He says, ST, he says, you're right about this, but wrong about other things. What are we wrong about other things, ST? You could be a little bit more specific. But yeah. What you brothers need to understand is that the black Hebrew Israelites all have to add to Torah. That's what they do. They add to Torah. Anybody who reads the scriptures, right? Let's talk about the curses for one, right? Because people talk about these curses, right? People have to read in context. In Leviticus 26, Deuteronomy 28, from verse 15 through 64, these curses are happening in your land, whether it's the land of Israel or Arzareth. Okay? And this is why Judah... Yo, Ayash. You can hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, before I got on here, I was on Judah Nazareth's channel, right? Right now, he's been on like a 30-minute rant about me right now. Because I went in there kicking his teeth in once again.
Of course. What was he saying?
You know what he was trying to say? You know what he's trying? Because they tried to go to there's one guy was trying to go to Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4, where he talks about like, this is why we lost our inheritance. This is why we don't know who we are, and this and that, right?
Oh my gosh.
And I made the comment. I was like, brother, that's not talking about you losing your memory of who you are. It's talking about you losing your land inheritance. Oh, his phone. I don't know, man. What's up with his phone? But like I said, we all just read, everybody heard me just read from verse 1 through verse 5, and all it's talking about is you actually losing your land inheritance. Okay? Your altars, your borders, the high hills, and things of that nature. It has nothing to do about you losing the memory. And of course, the Canaanite Judah Nazareth couldn't even understand that. And again, you there? Exactly, Marcus Anthony. It's not talking about losing your memory. Exactly. So if you brothers going to keep reading these chapters and taking it completely out of context, you're proving that you're not an Israelite. But yet Judah Nazareth is talking about, oh, you going against Torah. I was like, brother, and I kept telling them, read the chapter. Read the chapter. You know what he did? He read the verse 4, right? Then he went to Deuteronomy 4. Then he went to Daniel's 9, reading just lines like a damn Christian. I was like, no,
Right.
you have to read the chapter to get the context. And this is why you don't want to read the chapter for your viewing audience, because your viewing audience will see that I'm right. It's
Right.
talking
Well,
about you losing your land inheritance.
exactly. And even you can prove it later on in chapter 22, verse 25. It says, and I will give thee into the hand of them that seek thy life, and into the hand of them whose face thou fears, which was the Babylonians. It says, even into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and into the hand of the Chaldeans. I will cast thee out. That's the us losing our inheritance. This is, and I will cast thee out, and thy mother that bare thee, into another country
Hey,
where ye were not, when you were not born, and there ye shall die.
exactly.
I'm gonna reverse
Exactly.
7. It says, but to the land whereunto they decided to return, there shall they not return. You see, so that whole idea behind Jeremiah 17:4, where it says, and thou even thyself shall thus continue from thine inheritance that I gave thee, which is what? It was the land of Canaan. It was given to us by promise through Abraham. And then, later on to the taking over of Canaan by Moses, Joshua, and then Judah later on, so on and so forth.
And you know, he was trying to tell me, right? Because I was cutting him up so bad. He was just getting mad. He started muting my mic again, like he always does, like the demon he does. Because again,
he's a devil, bro. For real. Like, why would you try to shut down someone? Like, what is the big deal? Like, what are you trying to hide?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This is why I was telling the audience that Judah Nazareth is a Canaanite. He is a Canaanite as wise as Daniel. That's why I even read Ezekiel 28 when you were gone, because that right there is the epitome of what Judah Nazareth is. He is a wise Canaanite, but he's not as wise as us. And I keep showing this. You know what he tried to say? He's like,
what?
About the scattering. He was like, and what are you talking about? That the curses don't happen on other people's land and stuff like that. And then he started getting on the scattering stuff, right? You know what this demon did? And I had to keep telling him. I was like, well, the scattering does not take place in fucking West Africa or South Africa. It has nothing to do with no damn West Africa or South Africa. He quoted Deuteronomy 4. Matter of fact, I'm going to go read what he tried to read, right? He's like, oh, the curses happen outside of your land too. I'm like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Not at all, right? Because this is what he tried to do, right? He read Deuteronomy 4. Let me see. Deuteronomy 4:27, like the demon he is. He says, Jose Vega, read this. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and you shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. See, Jose, where is this curse happening in? In your enemy's land, not in your land. I'm like, bro, where it says that you should be left few in number, that is from in your land, not in your enemy's land. And I cut him by bringing up. Exactly. I said, yo, bro, read Deuteronomy 28, verse 62, which I did, right? I read it to him, right? This is Deuteronomy 28 and 62. And it says, ye shall be left few in number, wherever you were as the star of heaven for a multitude, because thou would not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And again, and I even told him, I was like, and again, Judah Nazareth, where is this scattering taking place? You're getting scattered from your land, not you being in some part in West Africa or some part in freaking South Africa and being scattered to the nations. Let's keep the curses in its context. And this is why Black Hebrew Israelites don't want none of this smoke with us, because we're going to keep showing you guys through the Torah that all the curses are happening in your land, The scattering, you being scattered. Let's read it right here. Deuteronomy 28, verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoice over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And you shall be plucked from off the land, not lands, land, whether you goeth to possess it. What land is he talking about in Deuteronomy 28, people? Israel. Or Arzareth, because those are the only two times in the scripture where the Most High gave us a land. There's no other place. And he got butthurt that I show his people this. And I told him, brother, even in the book of Leviticus, right? It says the same thing, right? About the you being brought down few in number. But notice what he didn't do in Deuteronomy 4, right? He didn't read the verse above it, right? Because he read verse 27, right? He tried to be a demon, like a Christian, try to read one verse and try to make a doctrine off of it, right? I'm going to read verse 27 again. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, right? This is what he was talking about. And I kept telling him, well, brother, where are you being scattered from? Where are you being scattered from? He wouldn't say it because he knows what I'm talking about. He knows exactly where I'm going with. This is verse 26. I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land, whether you go over Jordan to possess it. You shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. Again, what land is this speaking about in Deuteronomy 4 and 26? It's Israel. Not no damn West Africa, because that was the whole point. He was trying to say that the curses apply to you in your enemy's land. And I told him, and I challenge anybody right now on this panel who thinks they could disagree with me, show me where the curse says that you will be scattered from your enemy's land. Where is that in the Torah, in the curses? In Leviticus 26, Deuteronomy 4, or Deuteronomy 28? Where is that curse?
Think,
Exactly.
Israel.
See, you see how the scriptures puts things in its proper context. The scattering is taking place in the land you go to possess it. Israel, Arzareth. People want to make the argument about Arzareth, right? Like, oh, it can't be talking about Arzareth, Jose. It can't be, right? What does 2 Ezra 13 say, right? Arzareth. It says these are the 10 tribes. It says these are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea, king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away over the waters. It says these are the 10 them into another land. But they took counsel among themselves that they will leave the multitude of the heathen and go further into a further country where never mankind dwell, that they might there, where's this there at, people? Arzareth, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their land. Why is the 10 tribes stressing about keeping the laws in Arzareth? Because they know about the laws of Deuteronomy 4, Leviticus 26, and Deuteronomy 28. And wherever you go into the land where the Lord give you, you have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments in that land. Not in West Africa, not in South Africa. Keep this chapters in its context. Shalom, brother. What's the brother's name?
Job Issachar. Shalom, brother. Introduce yourself to the people. Tell us who you are. Unmute your mic.
Shalom. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good, brother. Shalom. Welcome to the live.
Shalom. I not here to make something that becomes that that was to us at this time when we first learned this truth. We learned it through Christianity. We were taught that God loved everyone. We were taught that you had a tithe in order for you to be prosperous and for God to favor you. We were taught to put on efforts to the church to show how much we actually love the body and Christ. I did all these things, bro. I'm Joe Issachar, Israel. I am from the Northern Kingdom, just like you. The thing is when I heard the truth, bro, your spirit knew that it was the truth. And that was the greatest thing that ever happened in my life, because I was taught for almost 35 years lies, nothing but lies. My church, the church, separated my family. It divorced my parents. It destroyed this just the whole family unit. We were called disorder, we would call it dysfunctional family. Okay, and I would not know any of this stuff unless I came to this truth. And the thing is, when you hear the truth, it's something is so simple. It sets in your spirit, it sets in your soul. And that is something that no one can take away from you. And that having the Southern Kingdom being called Canaanites, and the Canaanite or the Southern Kingdom saying that we're not Israelites.
Okay.
I mean, that.
All right. What's your question, brother? Where are you going with it? Just
Well,
go straight to the point. What are you trying to ask? Are you trying to say that why are we saying that the people that you learn from, which is what you call the truth, quote unquote, are you saying that they're the Judites, and then that we're saying that we're wrong by calling them Canaanites? Now, the question will be here: what truth are you subscribing to? Because a lot of the things that you learn in Christianity is lies. You know that you already stated. But also a lot of the things that a lot of our people are learning under these camps are also a bunch of lies that are based on black supremacy ideologies and black supremacy thought or train of thought that stems back to Rabbi Ford, Rabbi Matthews, and Marcus Garvey. All of them play a role in this movement of the West Africans being Israelites, or the Black Hebrew Israelites they call themselves. Why? Because even in South America, like Jose Vega and I have already proved it and showed the receipts and the videos that there was a great awakening of so-called indigenous people in South America prior to these One West Hamitic camps, prior to a lot of these Africans calling themselves Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So there was a great movement in South America that began 15 to 20 years prior, before even One West began.
And they're in greater number.
So for brothers like yourself to state, yeah, I came out of Christianity because it's a bunch of lies, and now I'm awakened because I came to the truth. Wait a minute, we have to examine ourselves. It's just like we read in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5. It says, you have to prove yourself whether or not you're in the truth, because you have to examine a lot of the things that you're learning under these One West Hamitic camps, or a lot of these so-called Africans calling themselves Judah, because a lot of the things that they are teaching you right now, they're completely wrong. And I bet you right now we can ask you 3 questions out of the scriptures to prove that scripture to be true according to your understanding that you've acquired in this One West Hamitic camps. We're gonna prove you that you're wrong. So again, what is your point?
My point is something that's so simple to understand should be so difficult to understand. That's the point. We all fall into curses.
Okay.
I'm
going to start with the question. I'm going to start with a question real quick. Okay. I'll give you something to think about, right? Something. So you subscribe to the 12 tribe chart, right? Correct?
Well, there's nothing else out there that brought me closer to the truth than anything else. I mean, there's people saying, well, that chart is wrong. Well, then produce a chart. Let's see it.
I'm just saying, you belong to a camp, correct? Like you learned from a camp or a certain camp?
Nope.
Okay. Are you familiar with the camps?
I'm familiar with the camps.
Okay. Now I'm gonna show you, and this is why the camps avoid us, right? Because we've debated them in the past, and we expose them, and this is why to this day they don't want to have a debate or.
I like to hear it.
Okay. According to their 12 tribe chart, right, it tells you that Judah, Benjamin, and Levi are the so-called Negro race, correct?
That's what they say.
And then they said that the 10 tribes are the so-called natives of this land, correct?
That's what they say, but you got Bible precepts that kind of validate that too.
Okay, but that's what they teach, right? On their 12 tribe chart?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, are you familiar with their table of nations?
Yes, I believe so. It's like 18 or 19 different ones or something like that.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
let's examine one thing, and this is how you know that they're lying, right? They'll tell you that Esau is the who, brother?
Well, the Bible describes him as red,
No, I'm
hairy.
saying, but what does the camp teach? That's what I'm saying. We're talking about what the camps teach, not what we believe, but what does the camps say, right? Like Sakari, HOI, IUIC, things of that nature.
Well,
They'll tell you that Esau is the so-called white man, right?
right, right.
Okay, on their table of nations, it shows that Esau is the white man. It says that Ishmael are the Arabs, correct?
Yes.
They'll tell you that Moab are the Chinese, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They'll tell you that Ammon are the Japanese, correct?
Yep.
They'll tell you that Elam are the East Indians, correct?
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with the list.
Okay, exactly. So we're just talking about the Shemites real quick. The Shemites, okay? Now, out of all the nations we just mentioned the white man, the Arabs, the East Indians, and 2 Asian nations, correct?
Yep.
Why don't none of the Shemites look like the so-called Negroes? But yet, the so-called natives or Hispanics of this land get called Mongoloids, white people, Arabs, and look just like all the Shemitic nations on their own table of nations.
Well,
Can you answer that?
I remember reading in Genesis that something happened between Shem and Ham, where they had mixed together. I can't remember the exact precept off the top of my head.
But brother, if they mix together, right, that's a good point. But if they mix together, like you just admitted, right? What were they originally? Because originally the camps will tell you that all the tribes were Negro, and that through mixing, that's how we came about, right? But yet, according to their own table of nations, we look like all the Shemitic nations, and they do not look like not even one of the Shemitic nations. No one is mistaking a Negro for a white man. No one is mistaking a Negro for an Ishmaelite. No one's mistaking a Negro for no damn Japanese or Chinese. No one's mistaking a Negro for an East Indian.
Right.
This is why they like to bring up those points about, oh, Moses dwelling with Egypt, or Joseph married an Egyptian. You want to know why they keep?
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
With the history you're pulling up the exact same stuff I'm pulling up. The original color of the Shemitic people was our color. That's the scholarly research that I have researched myself, and I'm very, very strict on how I pick my sources. So it's not like I just picked out of the .com or anything like that. The thing we need to think about here is it doesn't really matter to me, at least, if they look like me or if they look like them.
It does matter, brother. It does matter, because imagery is basically the implantation of seeds within your mind in order to what would you call it, manipulate your state of consciousness. So if you have an imagery of a black Christ, which is what they teach, which is false, guess what? In a lapse of 20 to 100 to 200 years, you're gonna have many generations of brainwashed individuals thinking that Christ is black when it's not. So imagery is very important.
Exactly. Just like the Christians.
You're right. You're right. But
so hold on. Hold on, brother. Hold on. So imagery is important. Any detail. That's why when reading the scripture says that we supposed to be rising against everything that exalted itself against the imagination of God. Everything that is exalting itself against the imagery of who God is, which is truth. So every single thing of lies, whether it be too small, it matters, because truth matters. So we can't just be pushing these things aside, because a simple fact that you preaching that Christ is black, which is against the scripture, is basically you trying to promote an ideology of lies. If you don't call it out,
just like Christianity and the white Christ, right? Just like how you called out the Christianity and their white looking image, right? I'm very sure that's one of the reasons why you left Christianity too, because you know that they were pushing a false image. Brother, it's the same thing with the black Hebrew Israelites. They're pushing a false image. Christ was never described as a dark man, brother.
Well, the thing is that's neither here or there, bro. You know what I'm trying to reach to you guys is the curses of Deuteronomy 28 and 68.
They don't apply to West Africans, brother.
They don't fit
apply
none
to
of it,
West
brother.
Africans.
I know.
They don't fit none of it.
You guys are not letting me speak, bro. You know,
Go ahead.
The thing is you have to prove to me that they didn't go on the ships. You have to prove to me that they weren't sold. You have to prove.
Okay, can I ask that? Can I ask you that?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask you this. Were Negroes the only people ever taken on slave ships?
That was not my question, sir.
Brother, yes, it is. You're saying you have to show me a nation who went on slave ships and that were sold.
But
I'm trying to tell you, brother, and I'm gonna tell you right now, they're not the only nation to do it. The Asians,
right,
hold on. The
right.
Asian people were put on slave ships and were sold. Arab people were put on slave ships and sold. Africans
Elamites
were put on slave ships and sold. Elamites were put on slave ships and sold.
Greeks.
That doesn't require them being Israelites. Now,
well, you don't think because we were spread through all the four corners that they must have knew that they were Israelites?
No, but the whole point is, brother, is that they were spread in ancient times. Israel was already went under the curses under the Babylonians, which you read in Daniel's 9 through 10 and 12, I believe it tells you. They were scattered, and even in Christ's time, they were scattered. James 1 and 1, to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Acts 2, Jews, devout men out of every nation came to celebrate in the Pentecost, right? So Israel, the Israelites was always scattered. Brother, Israel never came back together as a nation to then be scattered to all the nations, like what happened to the so-called Negroes in the 1600s.
I got you.
That is the fulfillment. Exactly. That is the fulfillment of the curse of Canaan. When you read the book, when you read the book Genesis 9, and when you read Ezekiel 28, specifically Ezekiel 28, that's where you read about the so-called the black man's transatlantic slave trade. Right?
I'm gonna make Russia. I didn't want to cut you off. He was gonna say something when you were gonna say something. I was kind of interested in you were saying what you were gonna say. Our Russia, but how do you say that? I'm sorry. Ayash.
Azarif, you mean?
Asha. No, you're the partner.
Oh,
Ayash.
Ayash.
What's going on, brother?
You were saying you were gonna say something when he was speaking. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, and I lost my train of thought. But
I didn't want
to
completely. I was trying to lose that.
I'm going to show you something powerful, right? And this is why we teach what we teach, right? Because we don't like to add or take away from the Torah, right?
Okay.
In Deuteronomy 28, we talk about the scattering, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Hold on, give me a minute, bro. Give me a minute. So kind of to what I was trying to say earlier, right? With brothers like yourself, ex-campers, or people that learn on YouTube by these camps, or just any information that stems back to these One West Hamitic camps. This is why we invite brothers like you and ex-campers and campers of these camps to come and basically talk to us about the doctrines that you teach or that you believe, because a lot of the things that you brothers are learning under these One West Hamitic camps, synagogues, say IUIC, ISUPK, GMS, this and that, GOCC, this and that, and the third. All these camps stem back from the same root, the same seed that was planted back in the 1960s by the white man. Because a lot of you brothers don't understand that a lot of these teachings, a lot of these One West Hamitic camps, basically learn under the white man.
Well,
Judaism. So they're a bunch of converts. So later on, they decided to do their own things, and they broke away from the white man, and they started their own synagogues, going back to the 1600s to the 1800s. And then from there, you have a split of these other camps and so on and so forth. I don't want to go into detail, but the whole point is that the same fruit that you see today, the same fruit that people are eating out of, is the same fruit that goes back to that same seed that was planted by the white man back in the 1960s to deceive you Hispanics, Native Americans with these lies.
I got
So
you.
again, like we've been saying, the 12 tribes never began as Negro Hamitic people. Christ is not a black man with woolly hair. That's off. We have two videos on that. The Hyksos are our people, and they don't look Negro based or Hamitic people again, and so on and so forth. So all these doctrines that have to do with Pan-Africanist ideologies is what a lot of brothers are following today, regardless
Exactly.
you like it or not. And
I got
so
you.
we teach that the Canaanites. We teach that the Canaanites are basically Africans that were sent to all the tents of Shem, Ham, and Japheth in the 1960s via ships. Why? Because there was no other mode of transportation back in those days but a ship. So
16.
that's how you have a lot of these Africans of the diaspora in our countries, like in Central and South America and the Caribbean islands. They're there because of the scattering of the Canaanites that were supposed to serve all nations under the sun and be the lowest of slaves.
Hold on,
anyway.
brother, because what these camps are not telling you is that Israel is not the only cursed nation according to the scriptures. The most cursed nation according to God is the Canaanites. They are the most cursed.
Wow.
Even the Egyptians were cursed, right?
Mhm.
So why aren't they teaching you these curses? But I want to make one real powerful point, right? You said you're from the tribe of Issachar, right? So you're a so-called Mexican.
That's right.
Well, I'm a so-called Puerto Rican or a Taino, right?
Mhm.
Now, brother, what nation took over your people?
Europeans.
No, the French didn't. Did the French take you guys over?
Well, let's just say the white man.
No, specifically, what nation took over Mexico?
Man, my man.
Oh, Shalom, Northern Kingdom Prophet.
Shalom, yeah.
Shalom.
So let me ask you again:
Shalom.
what nation?
Shalom.
What specific
Shalom, my
nation?
Northern Kingdom brother. Shalom, brother. Shalom. Welcome to the live.
What nation took over Mexico? Did the English take over Mexico? No. Did the French take over Mexico?
The Spaniards.
No.
The Spaniards and the
The
Portuguese.
Spaniards took over, right? I'm a so-called Taino, right?
Mhm.
Spain was the only one that ever took over my island, right?
Mhm.
Now, when you read the curse of Deuteronomy 28, I
Mhm.
want you to really think about this. Like I just said, we were taken over by one nation only. Now, when the so-called Negroes were in West Africa, who were they taken over? They were taken over by other Africans, right? By Arabs, and then they were sold to the Europeans, correct?
Well, and according to the Bible, they said they put a difference between the Egyptians and Jacob.
No, I'm not. That's not the question I'm asking you, brother. I'm asking you about the Negroes that were in West Africa that came over here to the Americas.
Okay.
Who were they taken over by? They were taken over by other Africans. They were taken over by other Europeans and Arabs, right?
Right, well,
Multiple nations went and got the so-called West Africans, while our nation, my nation, was only taken over by one nation. Now, this is why I talk about context is very important. Deuteronomy 4 says you should not add nor take away from the scripture.
Right.
All right. Now, I'm going to read you a few points, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to read Deuteronomy 28, and I'm going to show you a few examples, right? Verse 33, it says, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation. Is that in the singular tense or the plural tense?
It's singular, but go
Singular, right? So let's talk about one nation doing this to you. Now, this is verse 49. It says, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far. Again, is that in the single sense or the plural sense?
Single sense.
Singular. Exactly, right? So this is why we know that we fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Now, when you go to Ezekiel 28 about the so-called Canaanites, look what it says. And this is why I tell you Ezekiel 28 is a very powerful scripture to expose the Canaanites. Because again,
Ezekiel what? Ezekiel what?
Ezekiel 28.
28 what?
Let me get there real quick. Ezekiel 28. We can read verse 1 all the way down because this is a beautiful chapter.
All right.
Right? This exposes who the Canaanites are.
All right.
Because again, we acknowledge that the so-called Negroes were taken over by other Africans, Arabs, and sold to the white man, right? Dealing with multiple nations, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says, this is the word of the Lord came against me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyre. Tyre is a Canaanite nation, brother, right? Thus said the Lord, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God. I sit in the seat of God, and in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not God. So again, this is showing you the characteristics of the so-called Canaanites and how they professing themselves to be God or God-like.
Okay.
Now we see all the time in social media of so-called Negro men saying that they are gods or that the black woman is God, that she created all the things on the earth and universe and everything like that, right?
Uh-huh.
But it says this, verse 3, it says, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Like I said, these Canaanites are as wise as our prophet Daniel. This is why a lot of those IUIC, these camps, can break down these scriptures and seem wise according to brothers like yourself, right? And it says, I'm gonna skip down to the main point, right? This is verse 6. It says, thus said the Lord God, because thou hast set the heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers with an S. This is in the plural sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Upon thee, the terrible of the nations, plural, brother, right? And they shall draw their swords against thy beauty and your wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring, here it is, they. Is they in the singular sense or in the plural sense, brother?
Plural.
Exactly. They shall bring you down to the pit. Now, everybody knows what it means to be brought down to the pit, meaning to a lower state or slavery, right? Mm-hmm. So these multiple nations, these strangers are going to take this black nation and bring them into slavery, right?
So far, what they're saying.
Yeah, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain, meaning killed, in the midst of the seas. Now, we all know that during the transatlantic slave trade, when they were bringing those West Africans over here to the Americas, whenever the so-called Negro men suffer from plagues or sickness or whatever the case may be, that thousands, hundreds of thousands of them were thrown off the ships.
Right.
We all know this, right?
Mm-hmm. For money, for insurance.
Exactly. They couldn't afford to bring these plagues to the Americas. So if they were, suffering from sickness, plagues, or things of that nature, the so-called Europeans threw them off the ships, all chained up together, right? So let's say there was like 20 people at a time chained up together, right? You push one over the boat, what's going to happen? They're all that's on that chain are going to fall. Exactly. So this right here is exposing who the Canaanites are, which are the so-called Negroes. You see what I'm saying? There is no other black nation. And this is why, again, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about a black nation from Africa, because that's what Canaan is. He's a so-called Hamite.
Yep.
Who were taken over by multiple people, brought into slavery, were killed on slave ships. But not only that, look what he says. It says, will you say before them that slayeth thee, that I am God? So it's going back to verse 1, how Canaanites, the Tyre people, are claiming to be gods, right? They're boasting as if they're godlike. Oh, we're stronger than everybody. We're faster than everybody. We jump higher than everybody. They keep boasting in the flesh, right? And it says, but will you say to them that slayeth thee, that I am God? But thou shalt be a man and no God. See right there, that is the Most High humbling these so-called Canaanites under the way of their thinking, right? And it says, in the hand of them that slayeth thee, you shall die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of the strangers. So we all can admit, again, in the plural sense. So when you see the so-called Negro men dying in the streets in America by the so-called getting killed by all these different nations, whether it's the white man, the Arabs, whatever nation, right? That's the reason why. Ezekiel 28 is the key chapter to expose who the Canaanites are.
Who's the southern kingdom to you?
The so-called Gypsies. Now, if you don't know about the Gypsies, they have many different type of Gypsies. You have the Roma Gypsies. You have the Dura Gypsy.
Domari Gypsies.
Domari Gypsies.
Where
you have
the
Cobra Gypsies. They're scattered everywhere, brother. They even came over here to the Americas in the late 1400s as slaves. Many Hispanics from North, Central, and South America are Gypsies and don't even know it.
Okay.
Because one of the survival tactics of the Gypsies throughout all these centuries have been to mix in with the people which they dwell in. This is why you have like people like the Cobra Gypsies who look dark like East Indians and Africans, right? So why? Because when they were dispersed in Africa or what you call the Middle East or India, that's how a lot of the Gypsies got dark skinned and even blended in with the people to look like them. Then you have the Roma Gypsies, who are basically what you call the European Gypsies, right? Perfect example, the heavyweight champion of the world, Tyson Fury. He is a so-called Gypsy, right? Because his generations all dwelt in Europe, right? Then you have the Damari Gypsies, which look like us, the so-called Hispanics. If you ever looked at the Damari Gypsies, they look just like us. Physically. Damari Gypsy. Yeah.
Damari?
Yes. Damari Gypsies. There's plenty of different Gypsies. But like again, a lot of people don't even know that back in the late 1400s, many Gypsies were even brought here to the Americas to serve slavery, and they mixed in with the natives of North, Central, and South America. So they were already scattered to the four corners of the earth.
All right.
This is why you find them everywhere.
What do you think of this, Yakisha? What are you saying?
This y'all hear me?
The Gypsies, yeah. What do you think of that?
Shalom, y'all hear me?
Shalom. Yeah, I can hear you nice and clear, boss.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Shalom. Okay. The all right, I'm just gonna this is what I'm gonna say. As far as what brother Jose Vega's bringing out, I'm gonna tell you what, man. This is what turned me on, or this is how I the ancient watchman. Okay, the information he's bringing out now that now that I've heard it a couple times, it's making more sense to me what he's saying. And I had just watched you on Judah Nazareth's channel too, and you're bringing out about ours. Was given to us in Jerusalem was given to us. But what I was saying is the Jose Vega, he was debating with the Gorilla Hebrew. I ain't never seen the Gorilla Hebrew get so heated, bro. I never seen him start cussing this and that, calling him a mother effer, this and that. And every time I seen this other Jose Vega say what?
Send me the link. I want to see that, boss. I want to see that one.
They took that debate down, brother.
I don't have the link, brother. But that's not the only one.
I did that debate like 3 years ago with them. The debate he's talking about.
Yakasa was going to say something. Go ahead.
That's not the only. That's not debate I've seen this brother in battling with all these other brothers, all these other Israelite brothers who and I'm telling you, if Jose Vega was physically in the room with them dudes, they would have tried to kill that man, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's how mad he got them brothers, bro. And you know what I'm saying? And that's what I was like, that's interesting, man. For what this brother's saying and for them to get that mad, there's gotta be something, you know what I mean? Otherwise, they wouldn't be in that mad. This is why, I continuously coming back to these brothers' channel, listen to what they got to say. So there is something to what they're saying. Otherwise, these other Israelites brothers wouldn't be getting this mad at Hosea saying and Ya'ash. So okay, that's pretty much what I got to say about that.
All right. Well, let me ask you a quick question. The panel, I guess you could say, for Ancient Watchmen. Do you think this is our last captivity?
Yes.
Okay. Because in Jeremiah 50 and 33, it says that Judah and Israel will be oppressed together. So exactly. Where is that today?
That will be the Gypsies, brother. That will be the Gypsies right there, because Jose Vega, I forgot to mention, but we have two videos on the Gypsies. One is a teaching that we did, a basic teaching where we actually show that the Gypsies were scattered to the four corners of the earth, from North, Central, and South America, the Caribbean islands, going back to the 1400s, all the way to the 1800s, therefore mixing in with the indigenous and the so-called Latinos natives of Central and South America, therefore fulfilling what you just reading right now. We are in total agreement. We are in total agreement with the scripture that Judah and Israel were oppressed together, because a lot of the Gypsies were sent, where the whole bulk of Israel, almost the whole bulk of Israel, is here on the side of the world. Therefore, that's why a lot of the Gypsies were scattered to these lands, and a lot of these Gypsies staying with our populace. And this is why you find so-called Gypsies that they look like so-called Hispanics, Mexicans. Go look at my interview. I did an interview. Hold on. I did an interview that you brothers can go check out, and check out the brothers. Look at the families. They look like Hispanics, bro. They look like the Northern Kingdom brothers that's sitting right here. Straight out like him, bro.
And I know what you want to say, because you're saying how the Negroes are suffering over here in the Americas with us, right? Brother, that's part of the curse. Good. Hey, Yash, can you pull Genesis 9 and read verse 26, where it talks about how the Canaan is going to be dwelling in the tents of Shem? This is why they're here with us, brothers and sisters. You guys have to realize why they're here among suffering is the fulfillment of Genesis 9 of the Canaanites dwelling in the tents of Shem. This is the land of Shem. Remember, Arzrif is nothing but Shemites before anybody stepped on his land. It was nothing but the 10 tribes over here.
Are these prophesying, like it says in the Bible, that the tents of Judah will be saved first? Are they prophesying on the streets?
Again, that has really what you're quoted from has really nothing to do about who's waking up first, right? But if you want, I get what you're saying, and this is why we said that there's a movement. There have been movements in South America prior to One West even coming out, even with that doctrine that you're trying to bring out.
Well, it's not a really.
What's the name of that?
What's the name of that school again? Like Iglesia Israelita or something like that?
Yeah, Iglesia Israelita del Nuevo Pacto, así se llama. So there's that movement down there again, like I stated in the beginning.
Yes, and that brother, the leader of that,
and I'm gonna agree with
he was basically a Levite. He was a Levite, and he claimed to be a Levite. He first used to walk around with the ephod plate, right? He died a few years ago. I would say almost 10 years ago. And one of his sons, because they were all basically fighting for the priesthood, but I believe it was like his middle son took over the priesthood for that school. And now he rocks the ephod plate and things of that nature. And again, that movement is bigger than One West. This is why One West don't want to deal with us, because we brought this information out. That school itself has hundreds of thousands of members.
They're even in China, bro.
We show, brother. They said to have a little bit over 1 million followers worldwide, right? But in that one community itself, they're in the hundreds of thousands. We show this beautiful video.
We have a lot of video
of them basically celebrating, right? This is long line, right?
Let me bring out Proverbs.
Like going all the way back to the mountains, like of just people going, to celebrate. I forgot what they were celebrating. I want to say Pentecost or something. I can't remember what the video they were celebrating.
It was Passover. I think it was Passover, bro.
Okay, yeah, it was Passover, bro. Hundreds of thousands of them, bro. The line was so long. Like I said, it stretched all the way back to the mountains. Okay.
Yep.
And they do actually burn offerings. They show beautiful videos in front of their temple where they're doing and burning lambs and stuff like that, and doing burnt offerings. They have the men dressing in togas with the fringes with the blue and the bottoms of the
I've seen that church.
Exactly. And then you have the women who dress all covering, who look just like the women of Israel that you see on the Assyrian walls. If you ever see the Assyrian walls where it shows the women covered up like that and dressed like that, they're women dressed just like how you see, in ancient times. And they weren't even the first school to open. The first other schools ever since World War I, as far back as World War I in South America, that opened temples teaching that the indigenous people were Israelites. And not even that, even in the 1600s, right? You have this rabbi named Manasseh ben Israel, right? He was a famous a famous European scholar, right? He came to the Americas in the mid 1600s to South America, and he wrote a book called The Hope of Israel. You brothers should get that book. It's a beautiful book. He wrote a book called The Hope of Israel. And in that book, this rabbi, when he came to South America, he said that these people, these indigenous people, they are the lost tribes of the part of the 10 lost tribes. And he went back to Europe, wrote books, and basically went into the synagogues all throughout Europe, teaching that the South Americans were Israelites.
So
we have all this information, brother.
If the Gypsies are Judah, then who are you?
Can I get Proverbs chapter 1? Let me get Proverbs chapter 1 and 20, okay?
I'll read it for you.
This is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 20. Wisdom crieth out. Wisdom crieth without. She utter her voice in the streets. So I think what Brother Chope was trying to get at, as far as he was saying, are they bringing it out in the street? This is how I test the spirit as well, as far as camps and what their doctrines is, because this is what turns on most people when they do see, they come to the truth. They see this spirit that is crying out truth in the streets. All right. So this is, how I would test camps and their doctrines. If they ain't out on the street teaching what they're teaching, then they ain't down to die for it. You know what I'm saying? So they really don't believe in it. That's how I
want to show you something. I want to show you something real quick. I want to show you something very powerful. Because like you said, wisdom crieth on the street, right? Them street preaching and stuff, right? That's what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, check this out. Hold on. I'm going to show you something very powerful. A school that we were just
that's what Proverbs
school that we were just talking about, right? Hold on. The Iglesia Israelita school, right? Check this out. Hold on. Bam. Do you see what these brothers are doing? Look, they have the speaker right there. You see that? Brother, our people are the first. This is what I'm talking about. The camps copied our people. This school predates One West by 15 years, brother. They do street preaching all the time. All the time.
What is that one?
Fringes.
What is that? What video?
That's the school that we're talking about the school in Peru, the Iglesia Israelita that we were just talking about. That's them. Yes.
Iglesia what?
Yeah, I've seen them, brothers. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, I'm gonna show you something very powerful, right? Look, this is their leader on his deathbed. Do you see what he's wearing, brother? Look, that's their leader who started the school. That's his funeral, right? You see what he's wearing?
Oh shit, the breastplate.
Exactly, because he teaches that they are that he was a Levite. He's the priest of the nation until he died, and then his son took over the priesthood. Well, he had many sons, but I believe his middle son took over the priesthood. He got voted to take over the priesthood.
Okay, you were talking about gypsies. You were talking about gypsies earlier. Would he be a gypsy?
He probably might be a gypsy. Like I said, that was one of the survival tactics of the gypsies. They mixed him with the people to the point where we don't know. You could be a gypsy. I could be a gypsy. We don't know, because that's what they did. That's what they've been doing for hundreds of years. That's one of their survival tactics. Not to tell the nation who they are, but to mix in with the nations to hide themselves. So they won't be persecuted, because they've been persecuted for like thousands of years wherever they went.
Khan, I'm not really a big expert on the Southern Kingdom, nor do I think I would ever be an expert on the Southern Kingdom. The only one I'm very influenced and knowing more about is Issachar. That's it. I'm being honest with you, because I was more involved in learning who I was than anything else. So I wasn't really too involved in learning about Ephraim. Wasn't too learning, about learning about Manasseh. Even though they're my brothers, I should learn about them. But this journey has this journey has taken me to where I'm at now, and just learning just about who I am, and then teaching my kids who they are, and having them follow the commandments, etc. But the thing is, what I'm trying to understand here is, if the Southern Kingdom and the Northern Kingdom are oppressed together, there should be a sign.
Brother, hold on, brother, give me a minute. uh, uh, this is the thing that we've been saying. This is what Jose has been talking about, the Gypsies and all the things that happened throughout the ages to the Gypsies, meaning that what we're saying, that the Gypsies are the tribe of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You keep going back to the same point to almost imply, to say, stop talking about the Negroes being not being Judah. Stop talking about the West Africans not being Judah, which they're not Israelites. They're not Hebrew Israelites in its totality, in its completeness,
Who are we to say that?
of the slave trade. So for brothers like you and many other of our people,
God,
implying
the Most High.
implying that these West Africans are Israelites and they're not, you're guilty of lies. You're guilty of lie, because you read in the Leviticus chapter 5 verse 1, it says, if you see or hear something that is off, you don't say anything about it, you're just as guilty. It's against the law. So we've been trying to reteach and retrain the minds of our people by saying, hey, this doctrine over here, Jeremiah 14:2, is not a color scripture. The Jews are not black. That's not what it's saying. Song of Solomon 1:5, Solomon is black, when it's not, because you read verse 2, it's talking about a woman. Therefore, it's not talking about Solomon, because we read later on in chapter 4, verse 15 and down, 5:15, where it tells you that Solomon was described as having white skin, so on and so forth. And so we can actually go on and on and tell you a lot of these doctrines that you brothers keep pushing out, because you still have a doctrine. And you still cleaving to Egypt, just like our people were back in the day when they exited Egypt. They were still cleaving back to Egypt, back to Ham, and that's what that's what brothers. Hold on, brother. And that's what brothers keep holding on to, because they keep going back to Egypt. They keep going back to these black supremacy ideologies that they're learning in these camps, indirectly or directly. So on and so forth.
To me, it's like, once you got caught in a lie, you that's what you are. If you got caught in lies, then brother, you have to admit that this is the whole point. We have caught the so-called One West Black Hebrew Israelites in many lies. Like brother was saying, the color scriptures, all the color scriptures are all lies. When you break it down into Hebrew, even when you just break it down just by reading it, you see the lies. So if they're lying to you, then you should be like, wait a minute. If they're lying to me, you're just like the Christian church. That's exactly what the Christian church did to you, brothers, right? They lied to us. They kept lying to us. So if we know that the Christian church lied to us, we're catching the so-called Black Hebrew Israelites lying to us, then we have to get away from that stuff. This is what we're trying to drill into your people's heads. If I put it like this, like the brother was talking about the debates I had with Sakari, right? A lot of brothers don't know this, right? But I used to have conversations with Deacon Hakal all the time. Me and Deacon at one point were very cool. But what got heated in our debate is when I actually brought out the message that Deacon sent to me, saying that even Deacon knows this. He knows this, that a lot of the West Africans that came over here on slave ships, I could show you the screenshots if you guys want the evidence, the receipts. He even says that a lot of them were Hamites. He'll tell you that. I could show you the screenshots. He knows that a lot of the West Africans that came over here were Hamites.
That should be part of the program, though, boss, because we're being infiltrated in every aspect sense of our existence.
Check it out. Let me say something. This is my take on it. All right. Look, I the way I see it is a lot of them are Hamites, just like a lot of so-called Hispanics or Edomites.
Mm-hmm,
all right.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as Spaniard, Edomites, it's the same thing. Right. So that I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to defend or debate for the Negro. They have enough brothers out there to do that for themselves, and they are constantly doing that. What my law is in this walk is to edify my people and edify about for our history and patching up, connecting the dots according to the Bible for, the Aztec, the Mayan, the Inca, the Taino Indian. All right. And it always seems like, when I come on this channel with your brothers, it always turns into this somehow, when all I really want to do is edify our people, because they don't know who we are. You know what I'm saying? But it always seems to turn into this debate about, the Hamites, the Canaanites, They could defend themselves. I'm not here to defend them, brother.
Right,
I'm just here to edify the so-called Native American Indian and Hispanic.
A lot of you could be Southern Kingdom.
That's why.
A lot of you could be Southern Kingdom. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
That could be
what I'm
true.
saying?
That could be
That
true.
could be true.
That
Yeah,
that very well could be true.
Just like
that very well
just like
could
a
be true.
perfect example
That very
of the
well
brothers
could
I
be
showed you
true.
in South America, right? The guy has the afar plate. If he's wearing the afar plate, what tribe is he claiming? Levite, right?
I also read a lot of
Levi.
Exactly. That's a Southern
our
Kingdom. That's a
people-
Southern Kingdom. So that brother is that Hispanic brother from Peru.
Here's
claiming to
the
be
thing,
Southern
though.
Kingdom
Here's the
brother.
thing about
That's the whole point. So we shouldn't be here talking about, oh, we're all Northern
Here's
Kingdom.
the
No,
thing.
that's not the
Here-
case, brothers. Tell you the truth, I feel like I'm a Southern Kingdom for the passion, and people keep telling me, "Damn, Jose, you're like a lion. You go to all these platforms, and you just keep kicking people in the teeth." Because I'm not scared of of attacking people's doctrines. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
I could possibly
you might be right on
Southern
that.
Kingdom,
You might be right
or
on that.
I could be Ephraim,
very
because
well.
Ephraim was the head tribe of the Northern Kingdom. You see what I'm
You might be
saying?
right. Yeah, you might be right.
But that's
And
what I'm saying.
We don't know, bro. That's
that very well could be true.
And this is why we don't teach. This is why we don't teach
Here's the dilemma.
tribalism.
Tribalism.
Because to me, tribalism is not important. To me,
No.
that's Christ's job. That's
Right.
Christ's job
Well,
to separate, to tell you what gate you're going to go through in the kingdom.
Right,
He's going
that's
to one
what I'm
day
trying to get
Christ
at.
returns. He's going to tell brother Job. He's going to be like, even though you claim to be an Issachar, right? What happens when Christ returns and you tell him, well, what up, Christ? I'm from Issachar, and Christ tells you, no, brother, you're not. You're actually from Zebulun. Or he tells you, Northern Kingdom, hey, brother, you're not Issachar. You're actually an Ephraimite. You need to walk through this gate. You see what I'm saying? We shouldn't be concentrating on tribalism.
We're not.
Here's the thing.
That's not
Be
the point.
happy enough.
That's not the point, boss. That's not what I'm trying. That's not what I'm here to do. What I'm trying to do is try to create peace between the tribes, bro. That's all.
Well,
I'm
That's the whole point.
Hold on,
We're not
brother.
trying to,
Hold on.
we're not trying to
Hold
create
on.
beef between tribes.
Like,
Go ahead,
hold on. Like, trying to make the peace between the tribes or the two kingdoms, right? Is that what you're saying? So that would imply of. I'm gonna ask you this question: who would you say the Southern Kingdom is? Because that's basically what I want to get to.
Well, my understanding, I just go by what the Bible says. I don't go by the precepts of men. So, in that case, God is described
on the way home now.
hair, dark skin, as if it's burned in the furnace. You know, a lot of Mexicans have that kind of skin.
You see, this. Hold on, brother. Hold on. All the things that you just said, I burn in the furnace. That's not talking about being black, brother. When you go into the Greek, it goes it goes into ignition of glowing, because that's what happens to metal when you put. Hold on, brother. Hold your peace. When you put metal in an actual oven, any people that study metallurgy, right, will tell you that any metal that's put in an actual furnace, it melts to the point that it actually turns glowing orangey, which is basically the same color as the Asiatics. It's the same color as Christ is being described as, which is your skin color as well, as I'm looking at it right now. So it has nothing to do with being black, brother. That it goes into the word polished brass. And when you look at what polished brass looks like, it looks like the Asiatics, yellowish, brownish color, like us. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
so again, going back to what I was saying earlier, that a lot of our people secretly still have this Canaanite white within their minds to say, like, the things that came out of your mouth just now, saying, oh, well, the Jews are black and that the Christ will be burned like a furnace. That all stems back to this ideology. Hold on. All these things that you just mentioned. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Hold your peace. All these things that you just mentioned, and you're not the only one. There's various brothers that still have that same ideology. All the things that you just mentioned are things that a lot of these one West Hamitic camps are teaching to our people, which is a bunch of lies. Brothers gotta have to understand how to read and how to research. You read Revelations 1:14 and 15. You go into the actual Greek, because that's what the New Testament was written in Greek. So you have to go into the original language to understand the verbal, the adjectives that are being written therein, not the English language.
Hey, let me give an example. Let me give an example, right? I'm gonna give you an example, brother.
In the Greek, it's called pyro.
I'm gonna give you an example, right? When you read Revelations,
right here.
when you read Revelations 1-14, right? Notice it says this in the very first sentence. It says his head and his hairs. Right there is describing two things, correct?
His head and his hairs, yeah. It's talking about
two things, right? This is your head, right? This is what was attached to your neck. This will be your head, right? Then it's talking about his hairs, right? And it says, were white like wool, right? So it gives you the color of his hair, like white wool, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it says as white
It's
as
not
snow.
even a color. It's brilliant.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. Let me make the point. I'm going to show you something. Remember, it just described two things: head, hair. It says that his hair was white like wool, meaning the color of his hair was like white wool, right? But then it says as white as snow. What is as white as snow? His head. His head was described as being as white as snow. Not only there, brother, but when you read verse 16, and this is why the camps always stop at verse 15.
No, that's
verse
not
16.
That's not
verse 16, it says that
that's not like
his
white
continents,
like
brother, it says his continents, right? Brother, check this out. In verse 16, it says his continents, which is his face, was like the sun shining at its strength. So the highest point when the sun is at its strength is at what? 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock p.m., right? And when you look at the sun at 1 or 12 o'clock p.m. in the afternoon, the sun is a bright white or bright yellowish color. Also, in Daniel's chapter 7, it tells you this. It says that his face was the appearance of lightning. What color is lightning?
Mm-hmm.
White and blue.
So that's three,
more like it.
That's
That's
three
your Howard shot
precepts,
right
3
there.
lines from the scripture that shows you
Well,
that
it's
Christ's
white.
face is easier to look, to make him look more white.
Brilliant white
dark.
though.
Huh?
It's not white though. It's not white like this. It's not white like
I know,
it's
brother.
white,
Brother,
brilliant.
I know that.
It's like brilliant.
Brother,
You know what I'm
brother, I
saying?
know that. I know that. But the point is that it's certainly not a black man. That's the whole point. And also, when you go into the Greek, right, when it talks about the burnt in the furnace, when you read it in the Greek, it tells you that it means to glow. Look it up.
I got that right here.
Yeah, go into the Hebrew Strongs.
Let me get it. Let me read. I have it right here.
Go to the Hebrew Strongs.
Pyro. I got it right here.
Go ahead, read it, brother.
I got it. I'll just read the I just jacked up. Okay, here we go. This is the Revelation 1 verse 14. And his feet were like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. Now, burned in a furnace is the Greek word pyru, which is G4 Salakia, G4448. And the outline and biblical usage of it. Let me get it. Let this the outline and biblical usage.
You're kind of breaking up, but yeah, we can hear you.
I got some slow ass Wi-Fi. Okay, here it is. Here's the outline and biblical usage of pyro, which is burned as if it burned in a furnace. Okay, to burn with fire, to set on fire, kindle, to be on fire, to burn, to be incensed, indignant, make to glow, and that's the operative. That's the key word right there. Make to glow.
Exactly.
All right. Full of fire, fiery, ignited. All right. So to glow. So I do agree with you on that.
Hey, brother, read
like
under the Strongs.
Like a burnt penny.
Brother, read under the Strongs, where it says under the Strongs definition.
The Strong's definition.
The Strongs.
Strong's definition. Pu-ro-o. Got you. Pu-ro-o. From G4442, to kindle, passively, to ignite, glow. Be refined.
You see that, brother?
Literally,
to glow, to be ignited, to glow. Is not talking about in the past tense like how.
So he's not white like a white dude.
Oh, of course not.
But he's not white like a.
Of course not. Of course not.
Like an Edomite. He's not like white like a. He's not white like Cesar Borgia. He's glowing like lightning, like the sun would glow, right?
Exactly.
Being refined in the furnace.
Exactly, like our color, brother.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
You see what I'm saying, brother? That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to go into the language.
I wouldn't even go as far. I wouldn't go as far to say he was even like art, because he is the countenance of lightning, like a person made of lightning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's so exactly.
When I look at you brothers ain't looking like
exactly. Remember what I told you about the sun at 1 o'clock in the PM?
But even though the sun looks that way, we can't stare at the sun. If we try to stare at the sun, it will blind us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's
Yahweh shot in Revelations. That's Yahweh shot.
Exactly. You can't even look upon his face. That's how shiny, how bright it is. But
that's why the reason why the Aztecs worship the sun god.
Say again?
Is that why you think the Aztecs worship the sun god?
Oh, that the Aztecs. You said that the Aztecs were worshiping a sun god.
We're worshiping sun god because something to what you were saying, maybe. Connection.
No, actually, I believe.
That's interesting.
I believe the Mayans and the Aztecs actually did believe in the Christ. Did believe in his name was like Quattrozono or something like that. I forgot his name.
According to Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel chapter, I forgot what chapter it is, but it tells you that our people were worshiping the sun, even back in ancient times, after Solomon, so on and so forth. So our people always follow the customs of the Egyptians, going back to Ham. That's the idea, and just like
Assyrian customs too.
Yeah, and just like the scripture says, Ephraim keeps running back to Egypt. Why? Because our people always love captivity in the mind. And that's why our people die back in the Exodus. The first generation of the people who came out of Egypt was put to death. Why? Because they could never let go. They could never let go of their Hamitic ideologies and the things that they live in Egypt and the things that they believe and the things that they saw and the things that they experience. And that's what we tell a lot of these ex-campers. You brothers are still living in Egypt. You still have that Hamitic mindset that you learn in Egypt by being in bondage, because that's what it means to go back to Egypt. Because it means to be in bondage, but bondage in the mind. Your mind is in bondage because you can't see. You're drunk. They keep giving you wine. You're sitting at their table. You keep drinking wine, and that's why you're being deceived. And that's why our people are being deceived. Everybody else. This is why you have brothers like yourself saying such things as, "Oh, burn as brass. They were black." Or this and that and the third. Again.
You're reading out the Bible, bro.
And it's not us attacking you, brother. It's not us attacking you, because again, we want you to bring out those scriptures so you could be corrected, like we were just bringing out Revelations 1. Because again, it don't matter what color scripture that these camps have taught you, brother. We will show you and break it down the proper way. Even like I said, a perfect example is Songs of Solomon 1 and 5, right? Back in the days when I like I said, was talking to Sakari, they used to teach that was King Solomon, right? And I had to show them, brothers. I was like, hey, brother, how can this be talking about King Solomon when verse 2 is talking about a woman? It says, let her kiss me with her mouth. You see what I'm saying? So we know that it was actually a female speaking there. And actually, when you read in verse, I think chapter 5, you actually find out that she was actually a Shulamite, meaning a girl from Issachar, right? I believe, Ayash, right? There's a chapter 5, I believe.
Yeah.
Where it exposes that she was a Shulamite. Which
and that's interesting too, because when we see a fine hyena, right, we say she's chula, like that's like shula, right? That's how we say she's fine, like she's shula. You know what I'm saying? Like a chulamite, right?
Yeah. But this is what the most important part about Songs of Solomon, right? And brothers hate when I bring this out all the time.
Exactly.
If you really read that chapter, it is a chapter of a woman apologizing to the woman of Zion for looking dark skinned because she was out in the fields working and that the sun burned her skin dark. Okay. That is what it's saying in verse 6. In verse 6, she says, do not stare at me because I am dark. Why would she tell the women of Zion to don't stare at her because she's dark? Because the women of Zion were not a dark nation. That's the whole point. And that's why she has to explain to the women of Zion how she got dark. Look, I got dark because the sun burned my skin because I was out in the field working the fields because I was punished and I had to work the fields. You see what I'm saying? So originally she wasn't even dark. She was turned dark. Just like any of us right now, right? Or many of our ancestors. Like right now, if we were to be working the field, any one of us brothers, right? We would easily turn dark.
Yeah.
If we were working the fields, right? We would easily turn dark. Bro, I know I look pretty light skinned. I can show you pictures of me in summertime, me looking dark as hell. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It can happen to any of us. That's what happens when we're out in the fields, working the fields. The brother Ayash, he works on the roof, you know what I'm saying? In 100-degree weather.
You're a
Things of that
roofer,
nature.
Ayash?
Yeah, he's
That's
a roofer.
rough. That's rough, dog.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I
Oh,
did
110
work, brother.
in 110-degree weather. He works in where is it? In Phoenix? No.
I used to work in Yuma roofing.
Oh, you used to work
I know.
roofing? Exactly. I know you used to hate that sun when you was out on those roof. That sun just beaming
bro,
on you, beaming
and that's
on you.
and that's what we tell a lot of these brothers, that they're claiming melanin, right? That they pride themselves. They pride themselves in melanin, like, oh, look, I'm a melanated man, this and that and third, we're the gods of this planet, and we're the birthers of life, and all these things, right? But then you put them against a Mexican working out in the sun in 110, 120 degrees out on the roofs. They won't be able to last 30 minutes, bro. I've seen that
Not even 30.
time and time again. Bro,
Not
you
even
got Mexicans working in the sun, 118, bro, 115 out in the sun for hours, bro. I've been doing it, bro.
I did it.
And look at me. I'm a so-called light skin. As you can tell, I'm light skinned. This is not the third, right? But again, when we are in the sun, we turn dark.
Mm-hmm.
I could turn darker than that, and so on and so forth. So again, that's what these brothers be lying against Song of Solomon 1:5. Don't look upon me because the sun is had turned me dark. So on and so forth. It's not talking about Solomon, and we can go over many other scriptures about Job 30, Lamentations 5:10.
There's another one.
Name it. We can break all those scriptures down. We can go into the Hebrew.
I just have two questions. When you guys
Go ahead.
When you-
I think Northern Kingdom. He said he had something to bring out real quick. Would you say Northern Kingdom?
bring it out.
There's another one. Salakia. There's another one in the book of Acts, right? It goes to the same point that brother Vega was bringing out, that she was specifically saying, yo, I'm dark. Yo, I'm sorry for that. Forgive me for I'm dark. All right. There's another one that goes along with the same concept of what you're saying in the book of Acts, when they called that brother Niger or nigger or something like that.
But you know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? Hey, Northern Kingdom, go back into the Strongs, right, and look up that word Niger, what it means, right? Now, remember, it says that.
What my point is, listen, hold on. You didn't let me make my point. My point is why would they call him negro if he wasn't sticking out like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just the same concept as you were saying about the Shulamite. She says, forgive me for I am dark. But the same concept goes for, who was it? In the book of Acts, they called him.
It was Simon.
They called him negro. Why? Because he stood out from the rest of the. Why would they call him specifically
the prophets and the
negro,
teachers?
right?
Remember, because that's exactly what it said. Exactly. Acts 13. You're talking about Acts 13. Yeah, he's talking about Acts 13. Because remember, in Acts 13, it says that there were prophets and teachers that were in Antioch, right? But remember, it says prophets. Remember, plural sense. Teachers, plural sense, right? So there's like a gang of them all in Antioch. But yet they pointed out the one dark man, which was Simeon, and called him Simon. Why did they call Simon a Niger? Because he stuck out like a sore thumb among the other prophets.
And that's my point. So I used to go along with, when we first come in, we, all these things sound real good to us and we eat them up and everything. And it's the baby's milk, you know what I'm saying? But as further a brother matures in his faith, he's going to go into that, man. You know what I'm saying? He's going to go into that. Yeah. There's some dark ones. There's some light ones. There's some ones that look like Chicanos too. You know what I'm saying?
And what kind of bouncing off Yakusa's statement there, the only two questions I have for you guys is, where's Mystery Babylon today? And where can we find the curses of Deuteronomy 50 and 33 today? Right now.
You said curse, what curse?
Right here. All the curses are
right. You said Deuteronomy 28 and 53?
No, Jeremiah 50 and 33. You have to show me where they are pressed together, the northern and the southern kingdom.
Brother, we
Brother,
already did.
we
The
we already
Gypsies,
answered that question.
again, if let's say like I said,
Listen,
if the Gypsies are mixed in within the nations and they're suffering just like we're suffering, right?
Yeah, I
Like I said,
understand
there's many Mexicans that are
I don't
Gypsies
know. I don't
that
know
are
any
Southern
damn
Kingdom.
gypsies. I don't know any gypsies, brother. That's
Me
the
neither.
only thing about
I know,
think
brother. That's why
gonna
I
have to
told
get
you
more
earlier
salt.
that
You brothers gonna have to get more salt.
that's why I told you. That's why I
Hold
told
on.
you earlier, brother, that
Hold
you
on.
could be a
You brothers
gypsy.
gonna have to
This
get
brother
more
could be a gypsy. I could even be a gypsy. We don't know. You see what I'm saying? Because that's one of
But
the
you know what?
gypsy
I don't even know
survival
what the hell a
tactics.
gypsy is.
Huh?
You know what I'm saying?
Gypsy practices
So
magic.
I think you brothers got to get more. Oh, we
Well, I don't
practice magic. We practice Santeria. You know what I'm saying? We practice Santeria. But what I was saying is,
Exactly.
you brothers
That's a good
got to
point.
get more solid on that. You got to get more
Gypsy.
solid. There's a delay. Forgive me for the delay. All right. You brothers got to get more solid on that whole gypsy thing, man. Because I ain't really following y'all with that, man. You know what I'm saying?
And this is out of love, you guys. Okay, we're not
And
here.
my point is that.
Yeah,
And my point is that the Northern Kingdom are our people. They're really simple. Go ahead, brother.
yeah, but like I said, it makes perfect sense. This is why we see even this a lot of the so-called Hispanics going against each other. Like you see, Dominicans don't like Puerto Ricans don't like Dominicans, Mexicans don't like Cubans don't like Ecuadorians don't like. We're seeing all of the Hispanic don't like each other. You know what I'm saying?
The design, boss. It says that in Psalms 83 and 2.
Yeah.
What was going to happen?
You got Norteños against
Exactly.
Sureños.
So that's what I'm saying. So
Here's
even though
the
we're
thing.
beefing each other, just like a perfect example with Isaiah 11, where it talks about the vexing, right? We see the vexing amongst the Hispanics out of all the Hispanics, right? And this is a beautiful point that even Judah and Nazareth have to acknowledge.
That's
When
true,
he talks
too.
about
That's true.
when he talks about the Negroes, right? He told the Negroes, well, if the Hispanics aren't the Northern Kingdom, then where are the other Negroes in the Americas oppressing or vexing other Negroes? That's not going on. Nowhere in the Americas.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about.
According
The
to
reason why the
Deuteronomy-
Negroes are over here suffering with us.
What you saying? Hold on. What did you say?
The what?
Say that again, Jose. You were saying
No, I'm saying about the vexing, about Judah, Judah and Nazareth. He was talking about the Negroites, right? And he was even telling the Negroites, well, according to Isaiah 11, about the vexing between Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, right? And how they can't find that. There is no vexing between other Negroes, but we see the vexing within all of our people. It don't matter who you want to, whatever country you want to mention, they're going to tell you that they don't like this other Hispanic country, or we don't like these Dominicans. Just like I said, I told my mom the other day about how the Mexicans are our people. Mom was like, "Ain't no damn Mexican in my people." You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, so I'm like, "Mom, we're all on the same time." But that's how our people are with each other. You see what I'm saying? And stuff like that.
The Morenos are killing each other in Chicago every day at a high rate, man. So they are vexing each other. But here's the thing: as far as that line of thinking goes, if they're claiming that the Morenos in Africa are the Northern Kingdom, then why ain't the Morenos in Africa vexing the African Americans over here in the Americas, like they doing us?
We're getting vexed the most, man. Out of all the kingdoms, man, we got the short end of the stick, man. Bad. And you know, like what Yakasa said a long time ago, you know, Southern Kingdom kind of has it easy right now. You know, everybody loves Southern Kingdom. You know, they have all the music shows. You know, they have the colleges and stuff like that, and all we're trying to do is fill in the gaps with jobs, and then we get attacked. You know what I mean? You know, a lot of our history has been buried, so you don't even find pictures of yokes of iron around our neck. We went through the same. We went through the stacking on top of each other when one guy was pissing, the other guy was getting it, and the other guy's shit, and the other guy was feeling it. We went through all that stuff, bro. And the thing is my grandpa actually he's a black man, okay, and he was the one who actually told me about blacks and Hispanics being family. He told me before he died, he goes, "Mijo, when you see a negrito and a Mexicano fighting, they don't even know their family." And you know, I was maybe about 5 years old when I heard that, and then I just forgot about it. And then 35 years later, I learned this truth, and then whatever my grandpa said it was 100% true. I know my grandpa was not a Canaanite. I know he was not African. He didn't have no daishikis. He didn't have any African architect, artifacts, nothing like that. It was just uh, a house, and then he died, and that was it, you know. But that's how I first learned about the Israelites, and then that's how I learned about Yakasha, and then I learned about the other different camps that were teaching it, and it bear witness to my spirit, bro. You know, I wouldn't be conversating with you guys
Exactly.
if it didn't
Exactly.
my spirit.
Hey, brother.
Let me interject here. That's the beauty, and you know, I'm probably gonna. Your brothers are probably gonna rip at me now, but that's okay. That's the beauty of the One West doctrine. It's bringing in people in droves, brother, and it's solid. You know what I'm saying? I mean, as solid as far as there's a lot of the facets that are covered in it.
Yeah, and the thing is, that's the reason why I came to this channel, bro, just to make mans, bro. You know, we shouldn't be fighting against the Southern Kingdom. The Southern Kingdom shouldn't be fighting against the Northern Kingdom, bro, because too much shit is going on in this world. We need to come together, bro. It's not our. It's not.
I'll put it to you like this.
It's not.
I'll put it to you like this,
Can I finish real quick,
brother.
I let you
Oh, go
speak.
ahead.
And I never interjected. The thing is what I'm trying to do, bro, is just unite us and just come back to who we were. It's not our job to say you're an Israelite, you're not an Israelite, you're an Israelite, you're not an Israelite. That's not our job, bro. And you know, a lot
Okay,
of the
hold on, brother. Hold on. Okay, so if it's not our job to say who is Canaan, then it's not the job of the camps to say who's Ammon, who is Moab,
they
who's
should do
Ishmael.
yeah.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. Because it seems to me like a lot of hold on, brother. Hold on. It seems to me, it seems to Jose Vega and I that a lot of you brothers have some. You feel some type of way when we say, listen, West Africans are not Israelites. They can't. They don't fit the curses. This and that and the third, etc., etc. Right? You guys have a problem with that. But when it comes to a lot of these camps out teaching out in the street to telling the white man, telling the Chinese, telling the Arabs, you going on slavery, you're not an Israelite. What's your nationality? You're an Arab. You're not an Israelite. What's your nationality? You're a Moab. You're a heathen. So it's okay for them to do that, but it's not okay for us to say, listen, we're gonna teach biblical nationality to a lot of these West Africans that they're not Israelites. And that's what we're gonna do according to the Bible, according to prophecy, and according to evidence. And then when we do that, you brothers have a problem. So what seems to be the issue here?
I have no problem with that.
Brother, you are saying that to stop the vexing, brother. If you're not on Sakari's channel, if you're not on the ISUPK's channel, telling them to leave the white man alone, leave the Asian man alone, leave all of them alone, then you can't come tell us, well, you gotta leave the Negro alone. That's called being biased. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why, right? I'm going to tell you why that's being biased, right? Because what do all the camps teach? Even you brothers teach. We got to keep the laws, correct, right? We have to keep the laws to the best of our abilities. Well, brothers and sisters don't understand this. It is a law not to mix or have any dealings with the Canaanites. That is from Yahweh. That is a law. But you brothers are trying to tell us we have to ignore the law because we're hurting people's feelings.
Well,
brother, I'm gonna tell you right now. This is the truth, right? This is why we mentioned the white man and the Asian man, right? Brother, there is no law in the Torah where the Most High said, "Do not mix with Esau. Do not deal with Esau." Matter of fact, when you see Esau, I want you to kill everything that breatheth. I want you to kill their man, woman, child, even their cattle. But you know who's the only nation that the Most High said to do those things that I just mentioned? The Canaanites. This is what people have to understand. The Canaanite is a very serious subject, because not only did the Most High tell you not to deal with them, mix with them, and kill every one of them that breatheth, but they're also part of the crafty counsel that you read in Psalms 83. See, this is why we're trying to tell you about this camp telling you, oh, Christ is black. Oh, Christ is black. Solomon is black. Oh, Jeremiah 17, the Jews are black. Blah, 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 blah. Bro, that's all part of the crafty counsel.
Okay.
Because in Psalms 83, it mentions two
questions then? Can you guys
answer
the question?
Four Hamitic nations. Huh?
Where's Babylon today? Mystery Babylon today.
The Americas.
This was our last captivity.
The Americas.
Okay, so if Judah and Israel were pressed together, wouldn't this fit the criteria that we're
because the Jews are here amongst us, bro.
Brother, this is why I keep telling you, go read Genesis chapter 9. It tells you that the Canaanites are cursed to serve all nations. And Ezekiel 28 is the fulfillment of that, of the transatlantic slave trade.
So
and it tells you in Genesis 9,
every black person, it tells you that
in Genesis, hold on. In Genesis 9, it tells you that the Canaanites are going to be in the tents of Shem. This is why they're in the Americas with the Shemites, which is us. And they still have to serve all nations. This is why you even had natives who had them under slavery too. Even though we were under slavery under the so-called Europeans. Genesis 9 says that Canaan is cursed to be a servant of servants, meaning a slave of slaves. So if we, brother, were slaves under the Europeans, but that we had slaves, which were the so-called Negroes, that is the fulfillment of Genesis 9 of them being a servant of servants, because they were our servants also.
You do know that the Indians had slaves. They enslaved their own people too. You know that, right?
Yes, because Israel warred with each other also. That's all throughout the Torah.
You don't think that lines up with Scripture?
No, because again, we're showing you the fulfillment of Canaan. And this is why a lot of brothers, again, this is what you're trying to do. Try to scapegoat. Oh, well, did Israel do it? Well, forget Israel for a second. Let's stay on Canaan. This is why I keep telling people, and this is how you know that you're still falling for these doctrines, because you guys are refusing to acknowledge the curses of Canaan. And I showed you in Ezekiel 28 of a black nation who was taken by multiple nations into slavery, killed on slave ships. Well, even in the land, that the strangers will still be killing them in the streets, and then they still claiming that they're gods. How can you see this all the time on the news, and especially with the Kemet community, the Moorish community, and all the people from Sinetta and all of them, the young Pharaoh, Seti, all of them clowns. They'll tell you, oh, we're gods. The black woman is God, even though they just came back from a march of one of their brothers and sisters getting shot in the street, right? They complain about that all the time.
All the police I don't understand.
We're still gods. We're the black man's God. You got to respect the black man is God. We're going to rule this place. Why are they coming? You see what I'm saying? That's you have.
Here's what I don't understand about. Check it out. Check it out. Here's what I don't understand about so-called Hispanic brothers and so-called Native American brothers. Even in these One West camps, they come into this truth, man. And they know nothing about their own people. They know nothing about their own history. But they're all just like, Brother Joe. You came on here just to defend the Negro, bro. Just to defend. I'm not saying I'm a Latino only. You know what I'm saying? I do follow One West doctrine. But I don't understand brothers like you that are always just about defending the Negro, defending the Morenos. When we got our own platform, we got our own land. Yahweh had allotted us our own land, our own section, our own blessings, our own inheritances. Why don't you ever speak on that?
We do. I do. I always make videos. I make videos on it too.
You came on here the whole time. You're always on Fopi's channel, bro. You're always with them, listening to them. Like, it's like Fopi is your elder, bro. You know what I'm saying? But my point is I don't understand the so-called Hispanic brothers, Issachar brothers.
I learned from them, bro.
Let me finish real quick, bro. I don't understand, brother. Whatever. Go ahead. I don't want to go into that right yet. Let me finish my thought, please.
Go ahead.
Finish my thought. I don't understand the so-called Hispanic brothers, and we make this whole conversation about them again, bro. What should be,
Well,
we're royalty.
because we keep fighting with each other. I don't like it. I don't like the fighting,
you're
bro.
fighting with these brothers. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not fighting with
You're
them.
fighting with these brothers, man. Who cares?
Oh no.
Well,
You don't
I
even
know
know
you're not fighting, but I know you're not fighting.
I'm
I
not
know
fighting.
you're not fighting, bro. All right, but I know you're not fighting, okay? But you are making the conversation about them when we should be discussing our own royalty. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah, I understand. There's nothing wrong with that, bro. It's just
conversation about us. Yeah, how great are we? How great of a people are we? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hey, now you're gonna eat it then.
It is also another powerful scripture in the book of Amos, right? It tells you that the Canaanites will deliver the captivity of Israel to the Edomites, right? Again, you brothers have to realize this. This is also another fulfillment. When the Negroes got free in the Americas, they joined the white man's army and joined a thing called the Buffalo Soldier, right? And the Buffalo Soldier's main purpose was to capture, kill Native Americans from North America, Central America, all throughout the islands.
Familiar with
so
that.
Right there, the book of Amos tells you that the Canaanites would do that. They were going to team up with the white man and deliver the captivity of Israel to the white man. Well, and this is why I keep telling brothers. And all I'm just doing is just showing history. You know what I'm saying? And this is and it's not the first time that the so-called Negro teamed up with the white man to go against our people. Brother, my island was taken over by Spaniards, right? You know who taught the Spaniards how to get over here? The Moors, the black Negro Moors, brother. That's who showed the Europeans how to even get on our side of this world and to conquer our people. Well, and even before that, thousands of years ago, let's go thousands of years ago. The Olmecs were there was of course different type of Olmecs, but there was a Negro type Olmecs that were over here. They showed our ancestors how to do human sacrifice and eating of the flesh, right? Mm-hmm. You see that you see drawings of that in the Codex Florentine. Our ancestors drew how this black nation came over here and started sacrificing our people, human sacrificing. And that's how our people learn these customs and things of that. Just like the book of Psalms talks about it, and the book of Hosea talks about it. Mm-hmm. Exactly, Hosea, Psalms, they all talk about how the Canaanites taught us these Canaanite customs of human sacrificing, eating of the flesh, and things of that nature. So this thing about the so-called Negro man has been going on our side of this land for thousands of years. And the proof of that is in Hosea chapter, I want to say 7 or 8, where it talks about Ephraim, as I saw Tyre, was planted in a pleasant place. This is why we bring.
Yo, Jose, I got some info I got to bring out.
All right, hold on for a second. And this is why we show brothers all the time about this thing called the parable stone that was found in South America in Brazil. It's a Phoenician, parable stone. It was written in Phoenician, and it reads that we are the children of Canaan, and it basically tells you how they got over here to the Americas. So we know how the so-called black man came to the Americas by the parable stone, which was founded in the 1800s, right? It was written in Phoenician. That's why we say that the Olmecs were those Canaanites who came over here, showed our ancestors how to do human sacrifice and their human customs. That's why you see a lot of people from the Amazon people from South America wearing the nose bones, some that have some of them even have those
the Moors were also Canaanites.
Yeah, the plate, the mouth plates, stuff like that. Why? Because we learned that from those Africans that came over here. So this battle between the so-called Negro man on our land has been going on for thousands of years, and this is history.
The Moors were also Canaanites.
We're trying to be racist. It's just history. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Moors were also Canaanites. They they weren't Israelites like the One West camp say. The Moors were Canaanites. That's one thing I want to bring out on that. The Phoenicians were Canaanites, and if you look into the Phoenician history, the Greeks and the Romans copied everything about the Phoenicians. They actually invented a lot of the technology of the time, all of the seafaring stuff, even their politics, the religion, everything that the Greeks and Romans did. A lot of it was based on the Phoenicians, who were black. They were Canaanites. They were they had a base in Carthage. They had ports all throughout Europe, all throughout North Africa, all throughout the Mediterranean, and they came to the Americas before the white man, believe it or not.
I got a precept on that. I got a precept.
Yeah, even the Egyptians came over here to the Americas. A lot of brothers don't even know that. There's when you go to the Grand Canyon, there are caves in the Grand Canyon of Egyptian writings and Egyptian artifacts. One artifact actually shows the face of one of the pharaohs, which a lot of archaeologists say
you're
of
right on
Joseph.
that.
You know what I'm saying? It was of Joseph. So even the Egyptians even made trips over here to the Americas.
Yeah, I
Hold on,
know.
that brother Eon, he said that brother Ion, he said that the Moors. Hold on, the Moors were Canaanites.
There's two of them, and right next to it, yeah, there's two big statues of them inside the cave, and right next to it is
The Moors were Phoenician, brother. They were Phoenician.
Okay, bring that out, bro. Let me tell me some more about that.
You just got to look into the history of Carthage. You got to look into the history of Tyre and Zidon at the time of the Greeks. Just look up anything about the Phoenicians and how the Greeks copied the Phoenicians. Look up all the inventions that the Phoenicians came up with. If you look into it, almost all of the things from the Greek and Roman Empire, all those inventions came from the Phoenicians, who were more technologically advanced than the Greeks at the time.
But you said the Moors.
Yes, here's a perfect example of what the brother is talking about.
Yeah, the Black Moors, because the Arabs went into Africa and conquered them, and what happened was they converted them to Islam. And the Mediterranean is right; it's right under Spain and Portugal, and Carthage is, I believe, in what's today called Tanzania. And the Romans actually fought against the Canaanites many times, right? But when they took over Carthage, the Romans, they went into Spain and Portugal, where they already had ports, and other parts of Europe. And those are the Black Moors, man.
Also, brothers, if you go anybody right now can go on the Moorish site, and the first thing that's going to pop up is
they took over Carthage, the Romans. They went into Spain. And
you're kind of breaking up, brother. But like I said, any of you brothers can go on the Moorish site, and the first thing you're going to see is their biggest prophet, Noble Drew Ali, right? He was their biggest prophet. And in 1913, he opened up the first Canaanite temple in New Jersey in 1913. He taught that the Negroes of this land were Canaanites.
I didn't hear you.
So yes, even the Moors do teach that they are Canaanites.
I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you.
Which part?
right,
I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
in New Jersey, 1513.
He's just got. He's just
Okay, I can hear you, Northern Kingdom.
Well, there's history separating the two. There's history separating the Jews and the Moors. So there is a distinction.
Yeah, like I said, you brothers.
There's some history.
You brothers can hear me
I
now?
can hear you too. Go ahead. I lost my train of
You hear
thought.
me? Like I said, you brothers could go on the Moorish site, and under the Moorish site, it tells you how they had a prophet. Their biggest prophet was Noble Drew Ali. That's the brother's name. Look him up. Noble Drew Ali. In 1913, he opened up the first Canaanite temple in New Jersey in 1913, and he taught that the Negroes were Canaanites. So the Moors do teach that they are Canaanites. The Moors also do teach that they are Moabites also.
That's the first thing.
Hey, I want to bring something out about what Northern Kingdom Prophets was saying about how can you guys hear me good?
Canaanite
Yeah. So what Northern Kingdom Prophets was saying about how the Gypsies, he doesn't see Gypsies, right? Like you don't see Gypsies around you, is because the Gypsies, they're still primarily in Europe, right? And in the Mediterranean and
Isn't that going by the precept?
in Turkey and things like that. I'm going by just, you know, the history, right? So here's the thing, right?
Yes.
What you guys need to understand is that the Gypsies are not the only Southern Kingdom. The Southern Kingdom is also the Sephardic Jews. It's also the Maghrabi Jews and the Mizrahi Jews, because there are two kinds of Jews in Israel. There's the Ashkenazi Jews and the Sephardic Jews, who are primarily the Jews who look like us in Israel right now, right? And what you're going to find out about the Sephardic Jews is that they were in Spain and Portugal way before the white man took over, before the Moors, right? Because this is what happened. The Greek Empire, I'm not sure what general it was, when they conquered Israel, they transported a lot of those Jews to Spain and Portugal. That's why Paul went to go preach in these different places, because there were already Jews there, right? So there were already Jews in Spain and Portugal. Can you guys hear me? All right, so let me just get into this because I can't really hear you guys too good, so I'm just gonna go off a little bit. So here's the thing, right? The other day, Ayash brought up the Conversos. He was bringing out that source, right? Well, the Conversos, when you look it up, the Conversos were actually those Jews who, after 1492, when the king and the queen took over Spain at the time, there were already a whole bunch of Jews in Spain and Portugal. So what happened was they had to convert them to Catholicism. Most of them didn't want to convert to Catholicism.
Yes.
A lot of them left to North Africa, places like Libya, Algeria, Tanzania. A lot of them came to the colonies in the America, but they had to change their name to Vélez, Perez, different Spanish names that are typical of those places in Spain where they were. They were forced to convert to Catholicism. Those Conversos, when you look it up, it's not talking about black people. It's actually talking about Jews. So a lot of the Southern Kingdom is still here in the Americas. Like, let's say in Mexico, you have the indigenous Mexicans. Then you have Mexicans who don't really look like indigenous Mexicans, right? In the north or on the coast, a lot of those are Jews who came from that time period. And here's another thing. The Sephardic Jews, the Mizrahi Jews, the Maghrabi Jews, it wasn't just in Spain and Portugal, even though it was mainly in Spain and Portugal. They got scattered to all different parts of Europe when you look into the history, and North Africa. And when you look at them, they look just like us. So it's not just the Gypsies that are the Southern Kingdom. Look into the Sephardic Jews. Look into the Maghrabi Jews.
Right. Well, we also teach that because we brought out the information that a lot of throughout the migration of the Gypsies, starting from the Byzantine Empire going westwards, which will be Spain, Iberia, a lot of the Gypsies that settled there prior to the 1400 slave trade, right? Because the slave trade began with us again. It began with the so-called indigenous and the so-called Gypsies, because both at the same time were being shipped around. The Gypsies were being shipped on this side of the world, and a majority or many of the indigenous of this the Western Hemisphere were being shipped to the other side, to the old world. So
and here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. The Jews in Israel, they actually teach that the majority of the Southern Kingdom Jews, because they know about the Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, I'm talking about the Judaism people, right? The majority of them know. Look up this thing. Look up this thing called the Sephardi. Look up this thing called the Sephardi B'nai Anusim. I'll spell it out for you. Sephardi, Bnei Anusim. It's talking about Jews who came from that time period, from the Conquista, who came after 1492, fleeing from Spain and Portugal, which was full of Jews.
Like us too.
And they came and converted, and they changed their names.
Well, it was the same thing that, again, that's what I was trying to say, get to the point that a lot of the Gypsies, when they settled in Spain, they had to convert. They had to convert by force, because if they disclosed the fact that they were the Gypsies, they were going to be enslaved and killed off again. So they had to lie. They lied throughout their migration patterns, just like we showed in our videos. Like a lot of the families that were shipped on this side of the world, beginning of the 1400s, they were forced themselves to say, listen, if they ask you whether or not you're a Gypsy, tell them that no, tell them that you're a Mexican or some other indigenous tribe. Why? because we look the same. We could blend in, and this is what we're saying.
Right?
And
But
this
when the
is why
Gypsies were sold into Egypt, right?
And this is why a lot of the you have a lot of the conversos, conversos in Spanish, but converts in Spain and North Africa, because you have the Carthaginians. When they fell, they had to convert also. They converted either to Christianity, Islam, or the Judaism.
But you got to look up that word conversos in the context of what it means. It's talking about Jews who had to convert to Catholicism. It doesn't talk about people who had to convert to Judaism. Look it up, man. It's talking about Jews from that time period in the 1400s when they were getting conquered, who had to flee in their diaspora from the king and queen of Spain who took it over in 1492.
Yeah, we understand that, brother. We understand
I
that.
got you, but
here's the thing, man. What I mean is it's not just Gypsies, right? Because
I got you.
Because the Gypsies were sold when, right? After the Romans took over in 70 AD, right? That's what you guys teach. That's right. The Gypsies got taken into Egypt at that time.
Well,
what I'm telling you is that hundreds of years before that,
was scattered
the
before
Greeks,
that.
when they took over Israel the first time, they sent them to Spain and Portugal, where there was already a large population of Jews. That's why you look at the Spaniards today.
The question will be this, right?
White people.
All that you said is true, but my question would be this: who are you saying that those people were? Are you saying that they were African or Hamitic people, or are you saying that they're people that look like us, like Soko, Hispanics, natives, or
they
or
look
the Gypsies,
just like us? Well, I'm trying to tell you,
in phenotypes and so on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What I'm trying to tell you.
Is this the brother? I want to know. This is the brother from Facebook, right?
No, man. I've never talked to you guys before.
Oh, you never? Okay, I thought you were this brother I see on Facebook, because he says the same thing, and we agree with him.
So,
brother, we know where you're coming from,
right? A lot of the Spaniards who mixed here and came at that time period, who went to Portugal, because if you look into, there's a lot of books, man, about it, saying that the Portuguese and the Jews were the same thing. If you called somebody Portuguese, they just assumed you were a Jew. Same with Spaniard in that time period, in the colonial time period. So most of the Spaniards and Portuguese who came here actually weren't Edomites. They're actually Israelites from the Southern Kingdom fleeing from the Spanish oppression. Hey. Those are the Conversos. Look it up on Wikipedia, type in Conversos. Right. You're going to find out that those Spaniards and most of the people in Spain right now are actually Israelites mixed with Edomites. There's Edomites there too, and there's Hamites there too. But a lot of those people in Spain are actually Israelites who converted to Catholicism by force. And if they didn't, they got sold. They had to move to North Africa. They got banished, or they got moved over here. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you're Mexican, it doesn't mean that you're Issachar. You could easily be Judah. You could easily be Benjamin. You could easily be Levi, because those Spaniards aren't all Edomites. You guys got to get out of that like black people doctrine that all Spaniards are Edomites. Most Spaniards are Israelites. That's what you guys don't get. Look up the Sephardic Jews. Sephardic Jews literally means Jews that they took from Spain and Portugal, man, from the diaspora, who went to Algeria, they went to Morocco, they went to Libya. The Jews who are in Israel right now, they scooped them up from all these places, right? And those are what are called today the Sephardic Jews. There's actually two kinds of Jews in Israel, Sephardic and Ashkenazi. The Ashkenazi are the Edomites. The Sephardic are the real Israelites who primarily came from Spain and Portugal.
It's beautiful that you said that, because I just recently did a class about less than a month ago. You brothers should check it out. It's very powerful, about the Damari Gypsies, that there are Damari Gypsies in Israel today. They are the most oppressed people in Israel today.
That's true. But also the Jews who are there who aren't Gypsies, a lot of them are still Jews, man.
Yeah, I do agree with you. That's what I'm saying. We show this. We show these things all the time. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I recently did a class showing about the Damari Gypsies, and the argument would be.
You're right. There's the Dom Gypsies. There's the Lom Gypsies. There's all kinds of Gypsies, and you're right. They're the Israelites. I agree with you on that. But also, there's a lot of people who say they are Jews today who are actually Israelites. And if you look them up, they look just like us. Look up the Sephardic Jews. They literally are us, man. And in their languages, when you look into Galicia, the Castilian, all these different dialects in Spain, they all speak different forms of Hebrew.
Ayan, trust me, we brought that out. We do agree with you. One of the great examples that I love to bring out, because I used to have a crush on her back in the day when I was a kid, Paula Abdul. Anybody know who Paula Abdul is? She is a Sephardic Jew, like the brother Ayan is saying. She's a Sephardic Jew. And what does Paula Abdul look like? She looks just like us.
Yeah,
see what
and
I'm
you
saying?
look at the Spanish people, they have the same spirit as us, but also they have the different languages and the history, it just adds up. They were
Yeah.
there way before the Gypsies were there, man. They were there when the
Yeah,
Greeks
yeah,
took over, they
yep.
sent them to Spain. That was part of their territory. Most of the Jews were in Spain and Portugal. And then when they took over other places where the Jews were, they also sent them to Spain and Portugal. So Spain and Portugal are full of Jews still today.
Yeah.
And most of the
there's
Spanish
books.
and Portuguese who came to the Americas, they're also Jews. Not all
And there's
Edomites.
books.
Yeah.
And there's books
Yeah.
about how when the Moors were
Doesn't
conquering
that-
Spain and Portugal, and it even tells you how when the Moors took over, they even gave a lot of power back to the Jews because the Jews were getting oppressed, but the Moors didn't care because, of course, the Moors just conquered the white man, right? They conquered Europe, but they gave a lot of freedoms to the so-called Jews that were dwelling in Spain and Portugal and stuff like that also.
Exactly, man.
yes,
and that's what pisses me
brother,
off, because when you see
books.
these
Trust
Hamite
me, I'm
camps,
glad that you're
they
on
talk
that.
a so-called Jew will come up and they'll look just like us, right? And they'll be like, oh, you're the devil, you're Amalek, you're this, you're that. And that guy is actually the real tribe of Judah. And he knows he's the tribe of Judah. Not everyone is confused about it. Most of those Israelites in Israel today, they're actually Israelites. That's what you guys need to start getting through your head. It's not just the
And it's
Gypsies.
beautiful.
That would go against Jeremiah 17.
No, brother,
that would go against Jeremiah 17 and 4.
Brother, I just broke that down before you got on. That was the first thing I brought out today about false doctrine. Jeremiah 17 is not about you losing who you are as a person. When you read verse 1 through 4, it is talking about you losing your land inheritance. Read verse 1 through 3. You have to get the context. It's not about you forgetting who you are, because all through Torah it tells you that a remnant was always going to know who they are. This
Exactly.
is why even after the Babylonian captivity, right? You had Jews, brother. Christ is a perfect example, brother. Christ did the disciples, all of them, because again, after the Babylonian captivity, remember Daniel's 9, it tells you that the curses from the law fell upon Israel, meaning the scattering of all the curses that you see in Leviticus 26, Deuteronomy 4, Deuteronomy 28, all fell upon Israel. But yet, after the captivities, they came back, it always says that a remnant was going to know who they are.
And you just got to go into the history.
Yeah,
you got to go into the history of the Byzantine Empire. When the Jews were oppressed in the Byzantine Empire, they were oppressed in the Ottoman Empire. They were oppressed. They were oppressed all throughout history, right? And they always knew they were Jews. They never stopped being Jews, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I just said, the New Testament is a perfect example of that, because we went through the Babylonian captivity, Persian captivity, Greek captivity, right? But when we got to the Roman captivity, you still had plenty of Jews who knew who they were. There was a remnant that was in Israel, which we see the Sadducees, the Pharisees. There was not all Israel was there. That's why not all Southern Kingdom or Northern Kingdom was there. That's why.
And even on the outside of Spain, well, a lot of the Spanish people, they're Hellenized, right? They were forced to change their last names. They were forced to adopt the customs and practice Catholicism, or else they were going to die or have to get banished, right? So this is what happened. On the border of Spain, there are still a lot of people, I forget what the town's name is called, who are still practicing Jews. They look just like us. They talk about this. Like, it's just history that they didn't teach you. When I was in it too, man, I was listening to those Hamites talking about this and black that. When you go into it, man, the Jews always knew they were Jews, but they were always Edomites, even Edomites who came out of Babylon, who fused it with the Torah and created their new religion. These are the Pharisees, right? A lot of them were actually Edomites. That's why you hear when Yahushua or Jesus or Christ, whoever you want to call him, when he was talking to these Pharisees, he said, "You're the son of the liar. You're son of Satan." He's saying you're the Edomites and you don't come from Jacob, right? That's what he's telling them. So even in that time, there were Edomites who, the Herodian dynasty, those are Edomites pretending to be Jews when they came out of Babylon. So even at that time, you had Edomites and real Israelites in Israel. That's why you had Paul say, why did Paul say in Romans 9, not all of Israel is Israel, right? It comes from the seed. He's talking about, look, man, all of these Jews and these Jewish fables and all this mythology that they're teaching, it's because they're Edomites and not all Israel is Israel. Even at that time, there's nothing new under the sun. So you had Edomites pretending to be Israelites even back then. So you still have those same Edomites ruling over the Israelites in Israel today. And the Sephardic Jews are still oppressed. You go into the rights compared to the Ashkenazi Jews, they're always fighting with each other. And the Ashkenazi Jews are the ones with the money. They're the ones who come from Germany, Poland. Those are the Edomites.
Can I add to that?
That was beautiful.
Yeah, man, go ahead.
You guys were saying before that we were scattered throughout Assyria, Egypt, and then you're saying that that Elam, we got Elam mixed up with the table of nations and stuff. If you go into Isaiah 11:11, it says that it should come to pass in that day that the Lord has set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant that should be left from Assyria, from Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall send an ensign for the nations, and they shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, gather together the dispersed of Judah from all the four corners of the earth. Well, what that is saying, it has a lot of what you guys are saying. It touches on what a lot of what you guys are saying, but it also fits in to where we were dispersed, so we don't even know who Israel is. If we were to pull up in Egypt if we pull up in Egypt or India, we won't be able to tell who's an Israelite or not. That's what I was trying to tell you guys before. We're not the ones who
you can tell by the Spirit.
Yeah, you can tell by the Spirit, exactly. You can tell by the Spirit.
But I want to also bring out something about Isaiah 11 that a lot of brothers don't realize. Isaiah 11 was already fulfilled. It was already fulfilled by King Cyrus. Okay, because when King Cyrus made the decree, the Persian king made a decree out of all the kingdoms on earth, because when you read the book of Ezra, it tells you that the Most High gave him all kingdoms of the earth. So he ruled basically almost the entire earth, right? And he tells you that he made a decree to send the Jews back to Israel to build a house in his name. And you know this, right? Because it says Yahweh will send a second time, right? Mm-hmm. The first time was when? Was Egypt. And you find that answer in verse 16 in Isaiah 11. When you read Isaiah 11, he tells you when the first time he set his hand for us to go back. Isaiah 45, it says what? That the Most High set his hand again on King Cyrus, king of Persia. That was the second time. So that was already fulfilled. Isaiah 11 was already fulfilled by King Cyrus. So Israel did go back to the land to build.
Yo, can I talk about something about Spain real quick?
Hold up 1 second. So basically, all I wanted to say was,
bro, I'm about to tell you something too, bro. Hold on.
All right, man, but just hold up, man, because I feel like this is important. All I wanted to say is look into the Sephardim. Look into the Sephardim. You're going to find out that they're the real Israelites.
Let me talk. I know what you're talking about. Sephardim just means Spanish Jew from Yahweh. That's what it means. Sephardic. That's what it means. I know where you're coming from, bro. So what I'm
trying to say is it's not just the Gypsies, and that's all I wanted to say. I wanted to elaborate on that.
Bro.
Go ahead.
All right. I know, like what you were saying, bro. And Spain, when they conquered over here, bro, have the one that stayed. They bounced to Mexico, and they're in the pueblos that we call them Hispanics. Those are the tribe for Yahweh. Right, I'm telling you that. But the other half, guess what they went? They went to West Africa. And
they didn't go to West Africa specifically, brother. They went to North Africa. They went to Tanzania, Libya, Algeria, Morocco. That's where they went.
Levites right there too. There was Levites right there too. So
if you look up pictures of these,
hold on.
If you look at pictures of these Jews in North Africa, they don't look like
bro, they went
Hamites.
to West Africa, bro. And they went to an island too. They went right there too. I'm telling you. And then after that, a lot of them went to Brazil, a lot of them went to the Caribbean, and some of them went over here to the.
But look, man, States. Those Hamites who came from the transatlantic slave trade, those weren't Jews.
Too. You know what I'm saying?
The Jews came before that.
Different shades of brown. different shades of brown. All right, and before that, the Windians didn't came and the Spanish, the tribe from Yahawada, the Spanish in Spain. Guess what they had? They made their own Tanakh, Yahweh only. All right, and they were getting persecuted by who? By the Vatican. And who's doing this shit right now? Right now, we're in Rome right now. Once you get that idol out of your mind and go back to Yahweh too. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's original to Yahweh says he's gonna have a remnant, and it's happening right now, bro. Because the Vatican it wasn't because, oh, you're from Spain or you're from this, not. It was because the thinking process of Yahweh only, and their minds didn't want that. So the Vatican.
Look, bro, I'm not trying to hear your Yahweh only bullshit, man.
Bro, shit up, bro. Yeah, you what? We got a problem.
No,
with
man, I want to hear about Yahweh Shai. Tell me about Yahweh Shai.
What? What the Yahweh Shai means? Yahweh saves. That's all it means. Yahweh saves. Yahweh saves. It means Yahweh
Tell me
saves,
about his
bro.
son, man. Tell me about the
What he
king of
said,
Israel.
Yahweh
Tell me about
only.
that.
He said Yasharel is his son, bro. Yasharel is his son.
Real
Don't you
one.
read the
Real
scriptures?
one.
What?
Real one. These were the Jews that were in West Africa, brother.
They were
No,
light
I'm
skinned.
telling you,
Even
bro,
if you
brother.
look in
That's
that book,
what they
Hebrewisms
look like,
of
But
West
brother.
Africa, they tell you they were yellow.
Weren't they right there?
This is what they look like.
And there was Levites there too. There was Levites right there too, and
You're
Africa,
right.
bro.
There was
Some
people
of them,
from
man, but
Levites.
most of them are Canaanites.
They were
Bro,
Negroes,
you
brother.
don't.
They weren't
But not all of
Negroes.
them, bro. Not all of them. So stop it with that thing, bro.
Nobody's saying all of them, man. But if you're saying
Alright.
that God is black and Jesus is black and everybody's black,
Bro,
then you're probably a
that
Canaanite.
colorism, bro. He's not. He's a spirit. Yahweh's a spirit. Yahweh's a spirit. He created man.
Yeah, and he doesn't lie either. So if he's teaching
Yeah,
these brothers
yeah, he
lies,
doesn't-
then what does that
doesn't
make
lie,
him? A
bro.
liar, right?
Yeah, am I teaching those things? No, I'm telling you what it is, bro. I am telling you that it is. So that's what
I
he
understand,
was,
man.
bro.
There are Israelites scattered to the four corners of the
And
earth, including Africa, and most of them came from North Africa. They probably descended at some point.
Spain,
Because
bro.
if you look
And
into the
Spain,
DNA, a lot of
people
West
from there,
Africans
bro.
are Shemites, but not all of them. Most of them are
And
actually
the
not.
last name didn't came from
We did say
Spanish.
that there was a lot of them in Spain and Portugal, brother. Real one. We did
Yeah,
agree
and they
with
went to West Africa, bro.
So there's
They
no
went to West
argument,
Africa
brother.
with the
There's
Levites,
no-
with the
brother,
We're
brothers.
not
no
arguing with
argument.
you, man. We're just telling you that most West
So
Africans are not
if you're
Shemites.
saying that those people did not come, they were not Israel, they came from the slave trade. Nah, they were Israelites in there, bro. They were not. What happened to the Levites and the people in West Africa, the other tribes? Where they at?
Look, man, I'm
What
not going to
happened?
talk much with a fool because you're not going to learn shit,
What?
right?
What do you
So
mean? What?
I'm going to keep
What? Why you
elaborating on my
calling me
point.
that?
If you guys want to
Why
kick
you
out a
calling me
real
that?
one or whatever,
What are you calling me
I got
that?
more
What,
I want to say
only?
about
Prove
the
prove
Southern
your
Kingdom.
prove-
There's actually Jews in Slovenia. There's Jews in
Prove it,
Turkey,
bro. You can't
and
prove
they
it. I'm
know they were
telling you.
Jews even at that time. They got
Now,
spread in the diaspora by the Greeks before the Romans, before the Gypsies. So, like, let's say like a lot of the Slavs, a lot of those people are actually Jews. Even in Greece today, you go to Italy today, you go to all these places, a lot of them are Israelites, a lot of them are Southern Kingdom. That's just the facts, man. If you look into the history, there were Jews in Italy, there were Jews in Greek. Even when the new Greek, it took the Slovenians and the Slavs and all these people and the Jews and the Gypsies and made them one new Greek. That's the Greek we call Greece today. Those are all Jews. You look in the spirit, you look how they act, you look how the Italians act, you look how these different people act. They're all Jews, man. So when you say you wanted to know, are just the Gypsies Jews? No, it's actually all throughout Europe, all throughout North Africa, all throughout Central Asia. In Turkey, when the Ottomans took over the Romans, they took over the same Jews from those same territories. So even in Turkey, there's a lot of Jews today, man. You just got to look it up. You got to look at the real diaspora, not what these Hamites are teaching, that everything white man teaches is a lie. That's not true. That's just bad information.
bro, you're confusing, bro. You're confusing, bro. You're still under the Vatican. I ain't believing nothing you're saying, bro.
What are you talking about, man? I'm talking about the Jewish diaspora that anybody can study.
Well,
It never got
deny our
lost.
brothers too in West Africa, huh? They're right there. They went over there too. All right.
I never said there
Stop
wasn't.
teaching that they
I never
didn't
said
get
there wasn't
captured.
Jews in
That's
West
what
Africa.
We
happened,
never said
bro.
that they weren't. We never said that they weren't. And I just showed you, real one, what they look like. Those Jews that were in West Africa did not look Negroid, brother.
Not just
Yes,
that,
there
but
are
a lot
some.
of the
There are
Bro,
some
when
because
they
of
are not
mixing.
people.
So you're gonna.
Didn't,
But
not
again,
just that, but when Israel took
the
these
people
Jews
mixed
from
with the-
Africa and put
with
them
the-
in
with
Israel, they
the
looked
natives
still
over
like
there,
us.
right? So they must have looked different, right? I'm
Some of
just
them got
telling you, it's not
nappy
about
hair. Some of
colorism,
them
bro.
have Hamitic features, but you can still tell they look Shemitic.
Bro, but you can tell by the spirit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being
And
honest,
brother,
bro.
hold on.
But
And real one,
Yahweh
and real one.
only, bro.
Let's be real. And let's be real. Let's look at the spirit of the so-called camps, right? Of these Negroes, right? Brother, you see IUIC, Sakari, all these camps charging their congregation hundreds of dollars just to keep Passover. Where is that in the scripture, real
Hey,
one?
bro, that you
Where
don't
is it in the
supposed to
scripture?
sell nothing. I agree with you. You're not supposed
They're
to.
merchants,
Okay,
You
then.
don't
man. Look up
supposed to do that.
Sakari. Sakari's got
You
like
and
20
you're not
ads on his
supposed to
videos.
worship an idol
So you
either.
can't, a real one,
So you
a
can't
real
be
one. That's what
telling
I'm trying
because
to
you're
tell
doing
you.
the
You
same
can't
thing.
convince us, a real one. You can't convince us that these Negroes that are all in these camps that are charging their members all this money, whether it's for Sabbath, on Pentecost, all these feast days. First of all, most of these feast days you're only supposed to keep it where? In the land of Israel, not in the heathen's land.
Man,
Passover,
he's just here to
Pentecost.
cause confusion, man. We're
Nah,
not even
bro.
arguing
Am
with
I
his
saying
point.
that's right?
We're
I'm not
trying to
telling
help.
you. You don't.
We're
You're
trying to
supposed to
help the
teach for
brother.
free,
We're
bro.
trying to help
For
the brother.
free, you have to give for free. That's I have
And
There's
nothing.
no
You know what I'm
helping him,
saying?
man.
but
All
brother,
right,
but brother.
A hot
bro.
fire is gonna help
You're
him.
mad, bro. Why you mad, bro?
Hey,
Yahweh
do you
said give
know?
us
I'm
this
not
land, bro,
mad,
for
man.
all the tribes,
That's
not
just your
just
fate
certain
because you don't
tribes, for
believe
all
in
the
you don't
tribes,
believe
bro.
in Christ.
Hold on,
So you're gonna die
That's an
because
idol,
he's the
bro.
only
That's
one who's gonna
Lucifer.
bring us
I'm
back to
telling you
Israel.
that, bro. I'm telling you
all right,
that. The Vatican
all
conquered
right,
us,
but
and
real
still
one,
to this day in your mind.
hey, real
Okay,
one,
wait.
I'm
Can I
telling you
talk
the
to real
truth,
one for a
bro.
second?
like,
Real one,
I'm
I
gonna
hear
tell you
you.
this.
Let me talk to real one for a second.
What are you gonna
Before the
say, bro?
Council of
Talk your idol
Nicaea,
stuff?
were the Christians Jews? Yes or no?
With the what?
Before
I don't know. The
Constantine,
Christ thing does that. I
no,
don't
no.
know what
Before
that word means.
Constantine,
That means
before
an
the
idol
Council of
to me.
Nicaea, were the Christians
The
Jews?
people
Yes or
in
no?
Rome
Were
converted
they
to the
100% Jews? Yes or
Vatican. The
no?
people in Rome converted to the Vatican. The original teachings was Yahweh
Before that,
only.
man. Before that, I'm talking about early Christianity, pre-Constantine, pre the Council of Nicaea.
What were they
Were the
saying?
Christians Jews? Yes
What
or
were they
no?
saying? What were those what you call Christians saying?
They were
What were they
Jews. They were
saying?
all 100% Jews. This is documented fact.
So somebody died for their sins with the blood, right? That's what they were saying.
No, what I'm telling you is that they're all
That's
Jews,
what
and
they
it's a
were
totally
saying.
different
Was that
doctrine
what they're
from the
saying? Was
Catholic
that what they were
doctrine. So
saying?
you're off.
That's a Greek
The early
custom. Read the
Christianity,
history.
pre-Council of Nicaea,
That's a Greek
pre-Constantine,
custom.
they
That's a Greek
look.
custom,
I'll tell you
bro.
what
The
happened, a
Jews
real
are
one, and I
teaching
know why
with
you're
that.
confused.
How
It's
about
because
that,
they
bro?
took the New Testament books and they injected their Babylonian translation into it to make you believe in Nimrod and his wife and his son
Or
and the
you
sun,
still
and
put it in
they
Tammuz
made you
and
believe that with
Tammuz
their false
JC and
translation,
Tammuz
man. But
JC
when you
and
really
you
look
still
into
crying
it,
for him
the Old
and you still
Testament and the
crying
New
for him?
Testament say the same
Hey,
exact thing.
Nah,
all
bro,
right,
you don't get it, bro.
brother.
You have
Hey,
not
you
in your
guys,
You
mind,
just
hey,
don't
bro.
hey,
I
real
understand the
don't
one,
New
mess
real
with
one.
Testament
that shit,
because
bro.
you're still
You
thinking
guys
that
have to let
it's
each.
what the Council of Nicaea and Constantine and
So
the early church
somebody,
fathers, as they
so
say, they were
so
just
so
teaching
the
Babylonian
so
gods,
what you
man.
call JC was a human sacrifice, right? That's what you're saying, right? And for your blood, right? That he died for
Isaiah,
every for you.
Isaiah
That
53.
he's your
Isaiah
savior.
53. So if it wasn't
That
talking
he's
They
gonna
about
already
come
one,
read
back,
you all these
right?
scriptures in their past videos,
That's
man.
what you're
You
saying,
know
right?
that
That's
it's
what you're
in there.
saying. Because as the Vatican, what did
brother.
the
Hey,
Vatican did
real
to
one.
the
Hey,
Spain,
real one.
the Spanish,
Hey, real one.
Yahweh right here?
Real one.
They
Real
killed
one.
them, bro.
What is
All right.
I? Real
And what did
one.
they
Real
have?
one.
They had the Tanakh, bro. They made it their own land, Ladino. They made it, right? The Tanakh, bro. Yahweh
Real one.
only, bro. Fuck the
Real
Vatican.
one. Real
Man, you just
one.
sound dumb as
I
fuck, man. And
hold
I'm
on.
not
Hold on.
nice
Hold
The
on.
like
Hold on.
these
Vatican,
guys. I'm
bro.
gonna
Hold
just
And
on.
tell
your
you
Real.
idol,
straight up.
bro.
You're a fucking dumbass.
Why? Prove it with scripture. Prove it with
Isaiah
scripture.
Because you've been
50.
proven wrong like 100 times, man, and you just come here to
How?
fucking
How? You
babble
just
when we're trying
talking,
to
bro.
share good
And you
information.
still
Hey,
and
you're
a
gonna
real
have to
Israelite tells
take
Yahweh
control of
only,
the
and he
panel,
doesn't goes
brother.
like, and he doesn't.
Thank you. Thank you. Real one. You have to learn to look to just listen sometimes, bro. You can't just keep speaking over people, brother. Now you talk about this person dying for your sins, brother. Isaiah 53, man. If that's not talking about Christ, and you teach that it's talking about the elect of Israel, you would still have to acknowledge that they were dying for their sins of the sinners, man. Regardless if it's talking about one person or the elect of Israel, which could be thousands of them.
And not just that, what
That's
bothers me about the Old Testament only, Yahweh only, they act as if there wasn't always a mediator between Israel and the Father. There's always been a mediator. Not just any dumbass can just talk to the Most High like if he's an authority, man.
Exactly, and we sure again, real one. This is what you have to learn to listen, brother. You're saying silly things, brother. Oh, show me where because the New Testament teaches that a man died for their sins, right? Well, brother, that's what Isaiah 53 is about. If it's not about Christ, then if you teach that it's about the elect, brother, you're still teaching the same thing because that's what Isaiah 53 says, that someone was going to die for the transgressions of the people. That's verse 8, brother. Read verse 8. It says they were cut off. This person, the suffering servant, was cut off from the land of the living for the transgressions. We all know what transgression is, sin of my people. This is what Isaiah said. When Isaiah said,
And the Spirit,
people, who is Isaiah speaking about? He's speaking about Israelites, brother.
and really,
So
to understand the scriptures, you got to have the Spirit of Christ, because he came in the spirit of prophecy. He came in the volume of the book. So even things like Songs of Solomon that you guys were bringing out, when he's talking about his woman, he's talking about the bride. That's prophecy talking about Yahushua when he comes back to take the elect, who are his bride, who is that comely woman who was outside and she was dark, but he took her in anyways. All of that stuff, it's a poem between Yahushua and the elect, taking them back. He's the bridegroom, they're the bride. That's what that means. It's different things like that when you read, you got to understand it, but it's on a different level. You can't really take it literally. It's metaphorical. There's parables, because Yahushua spoke in parables.
Perfect.
It's not just any dumbass can just read anything and just fucking imagine that it's what he thinks. You know what I mean? You have to have the Spirit of Christ on you to even understand it.
Exactly. And here's I keep telling brothers and sisters, this is a perfect example how to prove Christ, right? Because in the book of Hosea 1 and 10, it tells you that it was said unto them that they were not the children of the Most High, right? Where was it said to them that they were not to the northern kingdom, that they weren't a people? Back in Jeremiah chapter 3, when the Most High gave a bill of divorcement to the northern kingdom. Also, even in the beginning of the chapter of Hosea, how the Most High forgave the southern kingdom, but didn't have mercy on the northern kingdom, right? So now the question is, right in the next sentence, it says, it will be said to them, the northern kingdom, that ye are the children of the Most High. Now, the question becomes is, what prophet, show me one prophet that went around specifically to the northern kingdom, telling the northern kingdom that they're back in part of the marriage, that the kingdom of heaven is at hand for them, and things of that nature. Christ specifically, I'm going to give you 3 examples in the New Testament where Christ specifically says that he was specifically sent to the northern kingdom. Matthew's 15. Someone put mute on that mic. Josh. Matthew's 15. I hear an echo. Hey, Yash, put your mic on mute. You hear us? Okay, you got it. Yeah, Matthew's 15. Matthew's 15, when Christ says, I am not sent but unto the house of Israel. Notice Christ didn't say, I am sent to the house of Israel and the house of Judah, right? He didn't say that. He said specifically to the house of Israel. Other proof of that is Matthew's chapter 10, where he gave the commandment to his 12 disciples and told them to not go into the cities of the Samaritans or to the Gentiles, but rather go to the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, and tell them that the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
I got another piece of information on top of that you might want to know.
Just one more.
The Samaritans.
One more.
Okay, go ahead.
One more. And also the book of Mark, where Christ is even telling you about the marriage of the 10 virgins. All this is, like I said, Christ spoke in parables about things. So we know Christ specifically came for the northern kingdom, fulfilling Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. But go ahead.
And
brother.
when he said, I have sheep that are not of this fold, right? He's saying, I have sheep who are in Israel right now. And when he said, don't go into the land of the Samaritans, a lot of people get confused and say, oh, well, wasn't the northern kingdom in Samaria at the time? The answer is no, because the Syrians, when they took over Israel, they actually transplanted a lot of Syrians into Israel, and they started copying our customs and pretending like they were Israelites. If you look into the history of Sargon of Akkad, And when they started repopulating Israel after they took them in as slaves, they put their own people in Israel. So those Samaritans were heathens. They are not Israelites in the time of Christ.
Well, you actually had a few like that Samaritan that Christ met at the well. She was actually an Israelite because she
Yeah,
even
she was
confessed
actually an
that.
Israelite, but most of them, a
Exactly, but
lot of
she
them were
actually
actually not.
confessed. Exactly, but there was, like I said, there was like a small remnant. But the how you find out that she was an Israelite is because when Christ went to the well to drink from it, remember what she said? Are
She said,
you
"Our fathers."
who are you exactly? Who are you to drink from our father's well? Right there, or she said Jacob, right? Jacob was her father, right?
She
So
said,
right
"Our
there, she
father
was
Jacob."
confessing. Exactly. So right there is your proof that that woman right there was specifically an Israelite.
Yeah, she was. But when Yahushua said, "Don't go into the land of the Samaritans," he was saying, "Don't go to the Syrians and who are the Samaritans." Most of them actually were Syrian. If you go into the history, they repopulated that land with Syrians, and then eventually a lot of them started because we had our temples and stuff. We had our things we left back. They started taking it up and pretending like they were the Israelites, those Syrians who were there. Anyways, brothers, that's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to bring out um, the fact that a lot of the Jews who say they're Jews today, a lot of the Jews in Israel, a lot of the Jews in Europe, a lot of the Jews in North Africa, and the ones who didn't, right? The Conversos, that's what I wanted to bring out because you brought up the Conversos the other day. The Conversos means Jews who converted to Catholicism, not people who converted to Judaism. So you have a lot of Conversos in Europe who converted to Catholicism by force. You have a lot of them in North Africa. You have a lot of them all around the Mediterranean, Central
Yeah.
Asia.
Hey.
It's the whole diaspora. A lot of them are the Southern Kingdom. It's not just the Gypsies. That's all I wanted to bring out to you, brothers. Thanks for letting me speak my piece.
All right, Shalom, brother.
Shalom.
Yeah, Shalom, brother. Thank you for sharing, man. That was a long one. But yeah, like we've been saying since the beginning, this is what we teach, and this is why we do this live, so brothers can come in and actually address the things that they learn in these camps. And it's like, we ask brothers, like, where'd you learn that from? Like, well, I didn't learn it from anybody. But then when you begin to analyze their doctrines, you find the root of their doctrines goes back to who? One West and their Hamitic ideologies and stuff. And so, this is what we're called to do in Jeremiah 1:10. We have to uproot all these things. We have to cut it all straight down from the root of this issue, of this problem, because this is the sickness that's going on in the land of our people, at the spiritual levels, in the mind, the deceptions that they still hold on to, and that's what we're here to destroy. That's why we bring things, precepts, artifacts, historical data, and so on and so forth. I mean, it's all out in our videos. It's all out in Jose Vegas's lives and debates that he's had against a lot of these Negroites and so on and so forth. So the information is there. It's just that brothers want to still continue. Like the brother earlier that was here, the brother Issachar, the first brother that got on, he was, again, trying to remark the fact that he believes that Negroes are Judah, when in fact that's not true, because we show that the Gypsies came on the side of the world. Brothers gotta go check out that information in our videos, or inbox us so that we can send you links and whatever the like. So all the information is out there. Our people, need to wake up from a lot of these lies, a lot of these doctrines that are based on black supremacy ideologies. And then we keep repeating the same thing again and again and again for the past 3 years already. And obviously we're not going to stop, but brothers got to understand that what is going on, the deception, the crafty counsel that is found in Psalms 83. But all praise to the Most High. The brothers are, finally, slowly for surely, but coming out of these one West Hamitic camps and their lies, and stop drinking their wine. And this is what Christ wanted, encouraged us to do, to be born again, means to empty ourselves out, empty our minds, so that we can learn everything from a new age, from a baby, starting from the milk, and so on and so forth. But usually change like that requires effort, and a lot of people don't want to do the effort. They don't want to do the work. They're comfortable in the lies. So
Yeah, I think we should probably cut this video off in the next like 10 minutes so we can save 3 hours for next week before we run out of time for the month.
Right. Yeah, I think we're basically 2 more hours, and then we that's gonna be our limit.
Yeah, I think we have like 3 hours left.
Yeah, but it was a good bill, bro. It was. I'm glad the other brother. I think he got something out of what you share, what we all share, and whatever the like. Hopefully, he's able to research when it comes to the Gypsies, bro. If the brother's still watching, we have 2 videos on the Gypsies. One is a lesson. The other one is the second one is an interview that I did with 2 Gypsy families, and so on and so forth. So,
You have a lot.
right. First Peter chapter 2 verse 2. As newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. You see, that's what I was saying earlier. The brothers have to empty yourselves out to be born again, and then start drinking milk. This is why we do this invites for brothers to come in and like tell us what you believe, and then we'll be able to discuss again. We're gonna give it to you. We're gonna give you the truth. At the end of the day, what you have to do is dig in the well, and then find that water. And then once you find that water, your mind is gonna be refreshed, because then you're gonna realize, like, wait a minute, Revelations 1:14 and 15 is not a colored scripture, and even if it was, Christ is not black according to when you go into the Greek, so on and so forth. And we can say the same thing with all the rest of the scriptures, all the colored scriptures, and all these doctrines that they keep pushing out. So, brothers gotta sound the trumpet everywhere you guys are at, and keep on pushing, keep on, telling our people and sounding the trumpet, even though they don't like it. Like the brother Efraim Rivera, he's always telling us like how a lot of brothers are blocking him on Facebook because, he gives it to them cold, straight up like that, boom, like a bomb. And a lot of our people don't like that. Our people want smooth things, like we read in Isaiah chapter 30. Tell us good things. Tell us what we want to hear. Tell us smooth things. Yeah, that's what our people want to do. They don't want us to tell them the truth, because truth don't matter according to them, right? But Shalom, brothers, Shalom. We're gonna close it out, bro. I don't know. Is there anything you want to say?
Work. No, like I said, it was a good build. You know what I'm saying? We'll just tune in next week. Like I said, we only have like about 3 hours left. We should be good after next week.
Yeah.
That 1 6 almost 7 hour last week.
Yeah, most likely, bro. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens.
Judah Nazareth is a devil. Remember that. He's a Canaanite. He's not an Israelite. He's the perfect example of Ezekiel 28 about verse 4. Daniel being as wise as about the Canaanites wise as Daniel.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I've been telling. Even when we were in good terms with Quana, I'm like, bro, he's not an Israelite. Nah, yeah, I think he's a Levite. Bro, he's not an Israelite. And that's why Hannah was beefing with Quana. I remember back in those days, because Quana has this Hayaman, I think that's his name, Hayaman, being an African, pretending to be a Native American. I don't know, bro. I can't judge the matter because I never met him. But according to Hannah, he has like Hamitic spirit on him and stuff, and that's why, Hannah and Quana started beefing back in those days, even until now. So it is what it is.
All right, man. Shalom, everybody. Hope you have a good night. We'll see you guys next week. Shalom.
All right, shalom, bro.
Shalom.
Yeah, shalom, Yeshua. We're gonna close it out. Thanks for being here. Let me see. Right. Psalms 147:18. He sendeth out his word and melteth them. He causeth his wind to blow and the waters to flow. You see, and that's what's going on. And this is why brothers like the brother that got on earlier, we taught the brother, because he was trying to push out that ideology, man, of the Judahites being these African Americans and so on and so forth. And this is the secret ideologies a lot of our people have within their minds. Why? Because our people keep going back to Egypt, just like Ephraim, joined on to the idols, but also wanted to go back to Egypt because they were holding on to bondage of the mind. And that's what we hear when we sound the trumpet. Our people have to wake up, because the trumpet has to be blown loud and clear. And that's we send out that message like 2 years ago, when we started going against these camps and their doctrines and their Hamitic false doctrines and so on and so forth. And we started exposing all these things. That's when we blew the trumpet. You know what I'm saying? It's been wartime since then. And that's the war that we have against taking back our heritage, which is, the land that flows with milk and honey. That's our land, and that's our inheritance, and that belongs to us. And this is why we're here, and this is why the Most High has put the spirit in a lot of our people awaken from the slumber and the spell of Canaan, and so on and so forth. And that we send out a call to everyone else that's listening to do the same thing. Sound the trumpet where you are at, and show our people what they believe, what they've been deceived into, and be brought into for the past whatever time they've been in the so-called quote unquote truth. You know what I'm saying? So, Shalom, Yashar, we're going to sign out. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining in. Mosai willing, we'll see you to the next, podcast. And other than that, stick around. We're going to upload a new class on our channel tomorrow, most likely. So keep an eye for that. Other than that, Shalom, Mosai bless you, keep you, and let his light shine upon every single one of you. Shalom.